Howdy do everyone, my name is Angie, and thank you for joining me for our book club. Monday Book Club is back, and we are going to continue with our life. Last episode was rather short, and I did promise you guys that I would do a longer episode, so today I am going to try and get through 2 chapters. We'll see how this goes. Hello everyone, welcome in. Let's get started. I do love doing these book clubs. They help me kind of wind down for the day. Godspeed indeed. We're only planning on doing 2 chapters today. And then next week I might try to finish out step 3. Not sure on that yet, but that's what I'm thinking. Also, I know I promised you guys a surprise today, but that is going to have to wait after the Great Oliver disaster where my computer got destroyed in the mix. Things got kind of set back a bit, so I'm gonna shoot for showing it on Wednesday or Saturday. The person I'm working with said that we should shoot for Saturday instead, so we might end up doing that. Not entirely sure, but that seems like Saturday is more of what we're shooting for. I still need to make the thumbnail for Lobotomy Corporation. Oh, I guess I never announced that last time. Yeah, Lobotomy Corporation won for the game. It won by a lot. I guess you guys were really wanting me to see me play that besides instead of the other games. So I'm interested in that. I have no idea what the gameplay is going to be like at all. I just see like some screenshots from it, and I'm confused greatly by what that game is. Alright, let's get into this. Light flickered down through the leaves of an oak tree overhead, casting speckled shadows on the sidewalk all around you. There was a drop of sweat slowly making its way down the side of your face. You flicked it away with your thumb, slowing to a stop in the cool shade. The day had you out and about in town, in no hurry to go anywhere in particular. Your morning shift had just ended, and there was nothing else planned for the rest of the afternoon. Your moms were still at work themselves, and Liz had left early in the morning to do something. You had no idea what. You took out your phone, idly noting the time. When it started to jingle, the screen lit up in your hand. Speak of the devil, Liz messaged you. Come home, ASAP. Before you could even begin to question why, your phone went off again. Nothing bad, but you have to see this, so come back already. And with that final message, you were left only slightly less confused than you were before. You hadn't seen much of your sister lately. She had been acting strange for days, always shutting herself in her room. Which wouldn't be so weird if at the dinner table, she didn't suddenly start smirking to herself over nothing. The rare times you did see her, she would sneak you expectant looks like she was waiting to be asked what was up, but all your questions led nowhere. She'd answer you with a put-upon sigh, proclaim that she was busy, and tell you that she would have to talk about it later. No hints, no guessing. Whatever it was, she was determined to keep it a secret. Maybe now you'd finally find out what it was. As you did, an about-face on the sidewalk and started heading home, you received more texts. To your surprise, the name that popped up on the screen this time was Cove's. Did you hear from Liz? She messaged Cove too? You weren't surprised. Liz teased him about it, but he was like family. However, you were struggling to understand how he fit into Liz's surprise. Let's see. I still love our cute little shark keychain. It's so adorable. Alright. What, is there something on fire? His reply came only seconds later as you waited to cross the street. Something tells me it's not that, and something tells me you know that too. You laughed to yourself as you read the message. A short-lived joke, but you knew when to let things go. You got me, detective. Too bad that's all I know. Are you going to see what's up? I'm walking there now. Me too. Glancing up, you saw the light had changed to a walk sign while you were busy texting. You hurriedly wrapped things up, texting Cove a quick goodbye before crossing the street. It was fine. You'd be seeing him later anyways. Not expecting any more messages, you put your phone away so you could walk without having to worry about tripping over the curb. Thankfully, it was a short trek home, and soon enough, you were walking up the street, the familiar face of your house already in view. Thinking of what might be waiting at home. Left us entirely lost. And the more you learned, the more questions you had. They were all buzzing around in your head, too many to try and pick out and make sense of. Lost in your thoughts, you almost didn't see who was walking further up the street, Cove. Even from the back, the bright sea green color of his hair was unmistakable. You quickened your pace to catch up to him, the scuff of your shoes loud against the pavement. He heard it instantly, not missing a beat, as he turned towards you and slowed his steps in sync. Hey, Rain. Hi, here we are at my house. At that, Cove gave you a wry smile. Here we are. It sounded almost like a question, wondering why the two of you had been summoned there. Any ideas what Liz wants us for? You shook your head. The situation was out of character for your sister. Anything could happen. Well, I guess we should go in and find out. Taking his cue, you grabbed your keys and opened up the front door. Cove trailed behind you as you entered. You walked through the open door and peered about, not sure what you were looking for. From the entryway, you could see Liz pacing across the living room, her smiling gaze intent on her phone. You had caught her just as she had completed a turn. Behind you, the door clicked shut. The second she heard it, her head darted up to your direction, her features lighting up at the sight of you and Cove. Ah, you've arrived together too! That's perfect, just perfect! She flashed you a radiant smile. You could almost see her limbs vibrating, as if she was poised to pounce. Cove raised an eyebrow at your sister's bizarre behavior. You're in a good mood today. So what is it, where is it, what are you gonna show us? I like both of these. I'll go with this one. Liz laughed at your rapid-fire questioning. Calm down, you'll see why. Kinda late, but goddamn. Who's that beauty on the screen? It's our sister! It's Liz! Have you not seen her yet? I mean, it's been a little bit since she showed up, huh? Or are you talking about me? I'll take either one. Alright, welcome in, Tarnished. Let's continue. Liz's eyes narrowed with a mischievous glint, and she let out a little cackle. So, lately, I've been hard at work on a little plan of mine, and you two get the honor of seeing it all come together. Here it is. Liz, whoa, how old is she? So pretty. Like 21, yeah. Yeah, Space got it. I think she's 21 in step 3. Surprise! She lifted a hand in the air to present the very comfortable but completely mundane living room. Wow, Liz, you shouldn't have. In the resulting silence, you and Cove glanced around again, and then made eye contact with each other. His face mirrored your bafflement. I think I've seen her before, but I have fish memory. Hey, that's my shtick. In the resulting silence, you and Cove... I think I've read this. Yep. Then suddenly another voice rang out in the room. Surprise! Surprise! Cove flinched at the shout, his shoulders shooting up to his ears. Laughter came from your sister, as well as the other side of the room. Your head whipped around just in time to see a familiar figure with a freckled face and a purple cap springing up from behind the back of the couch. Shiloh's back! It's been a while since we've seen him. It's been like quite a few weeks. I'm no longer interested in Cove. Liz is my new love. I get you, man. I get you. Liz is very pretty. Cove's mouth fell open, recognition immediately coming to him. Shiloh? Hi, Cove. Hi, Rain. Shiloh greeted the two of you so casually, like he'd been gone for 10 days rather than 10 years. Yeah, Shiloh's back! I honestly forgot that he came back in this chapter. I was sitting here like, what was this chapter again? I couldn't remember. It's the Shiloh chapter! What in the world are you doing here? You couldn't believe that the entire time you were looking around, trying to figure out what was going on, Shiloh had been right there, crouched behind the couch. With a wide grin on her face, Liz snickered and clapped her hands together, as pleased as a child after a fruitful night of trick-or-treating. You and Cove's reactions were adequate offerings in her bucket full of treats. As amazed as you were still wondering one thing. You hesitated to bring it up, but it was bothering you so much you finally blurted it out. You didn't remember us before. Shiloh's gaze self-consciously dropped to the side. He tugged the brim of his hat down, bracing himself to answer, but Liz waved a hand at him as if to say, don't worry about it. I'll explain. When we got home that day, I changed my mind about letting it go. Why did I have to? Social media exists, right? So I thought, why not try finding him and sending him a little reminder message? Luckily, there were only so many 17-year-old Shiloh Fields in the world. It wasn't that hard to do. Hearing Liz speak seemed to encourage Shiloh, who pulled himself together to face both of you and your sister with a careful smile. Sorry. I'm really sorry about what happened. When you talked to me the first time, I was in the middle of a tour for a school field trip. I couldn't get separated from the group and didn't expect anyone to want to be talking to me. I was so worried about getting back to everyone else, I didn't think too hard on what you were saying. But when Lizzie's message showed up, everything suddenly hit me. Lizzie, Rain, Cove, you were the kids of Sunset Bird, back when I was a little kid. There's no way I could forget that. Not for real. I do know all of you, and I'm so happy I got to see you again. I have Lizzie to thank for that. My mom was already planning to take a short trip near this summer. Wow. If my mom could bring me along, Lizzie offered to pick me up and bring me the rest of the way here, just so I could visit the neighborhood again. And that's why I decided to make it a big reveal. Instead of outright telling you two, I got back in contact with Shiloh. Once again, she lifted a hand in the air, properly presenting that long-lost childhood friend you all shared. So, ta-da! Let's see. Alright, still pretty stupid of you not to realize sooner. Man, we are not letting that go. Alright, let's be amused. We'll be amused by her stunt. You gave Liz a thumbs up. She had gotten you good, and all without you catching on. You were still getting a kick out of seeing Shiloh's face. Cove blinked slowly, still a little dazed by everything that was going on. Okay, I'm going to get some water. Don't disappear or anything. Hello, welcome in, Momster. Glad to see you. He padded off to the kitchen. No need for a chaperone. He knew where the cups were. Wow, you really surprised him, Lizzie. And Rain too. Did you see her face when I appeared? Yes, I did. Liz patted the cushioned front of the couch. Make yourself comfortable. You don't have to keep hunkering down behind there anymore. With a laugh, Shiloh crossed around backside and took the seat, but maybe it was awkward being the only one sitting, because he kept idly twitching his fingers. You could hear him humming to himself, a nonsense tune with no real melody, something to keep his voice busy. Being here again could be more nerve-wracking for him than he let on. Cove's soft voice announced his return. He paused to drag the back of his hand across his mouth, wiping away what droplets of water lingered there. Hi, Shiloh. Welcome back. At Cove's confused greeting, Shiloh laughed cheerily. Thanks. I think it's amazing you're all still here in the same neighborhood. It's just like how it was way back then. With a giggle that implied differently, Liz nodded in your general direction. There have been some changes since then. You narrowed your eyes at Liz. There was no way you could miss the teasing look she was fixing you and Cove with. Shiloh's eyes shifted across the group, still smiling politely, but there was a slight tilt to his eyebrows. He didn't know what to make with what she was saying. That is, until Cove cleared his throat and spoke. Rain and I are dating. It was fascinating how red he got when he said it, voice barely above a whisper, like he couldn't believe it was okay to say. Wow, I'm just a few minutes late and Tarnished is in love. Yep. I mean, our sister is very beautiful. Shiloh's eyes went as wide as saucers, mouth opened into a tiny O shape. Really? Congratulations! It's really sweet that the two of you got closer. Cove's got himself a keeper, if I do say so myself. Oh, let's see, it was pretty inevitable that we did it together. I mean, back when we were kids, we ignored the heck out of him. Choose that. Alright. You lifted your head high in confidence. So what if it sounded cocky? Were you wrong? That's good. Cove made a snorting sound with into his fist, but the warm look he gave you out of the corner of his eye seemed to agree with your sentiment. Shiloh sighed happily at the moment as Cove raised an eyebrow and gave the room a considering glance. Hey, this is where we met the first time, remember? Right after I moved in, me and Rain were brought down right here to have a playdate with you. Yeah. Shiloh laughed, his eyes downcast as he fiddled with the corner of his collared shirt. We almost didn't meet in the living room because you wanted to jump out the window to get away from me. I forgot about that. Best answer. Absolutely. I forgot. Cove tried to jump out the window so he didn't have to have social interaction. Relatable. Cove cringed at the memory of his younger self being pushed back to the forefront of his mind. You brought it up, Cove. His mouth going tight, he awkwardly looked away from Shiloh. You have a good memory. Oh? Oh, I don't think so. Seeing this place again just brings back a lot of things. Oh, BTW Angie, to Okapi's dismay, I don't think you can stream or even make a video of the NSFW DLC. I was worried about that. I hadn't looked it up yet. I was gonna look it up after a few more weeks, because we have a few weeks of playing this, but I was a little worried that, like, we wouldn't be able to. I know a long time ago, the creator, GB Patch, had said that she was okay with it, with people streaming it, but YouTube has gotten, like, really, really, like, strict about stuff like that. Even if you try and censor it, so I was kind of worried about that. It's on, I know it's on Patreon, like, it's only available on Patreon, but I'm pretty sure, like, I'd have to look it up again to make sure, because it's been a little bit since I've seen, but I'm pretty sure she said before that it was okay if people made videos or streamed it. But yeah, I would have to heavily censor it, and I am kind of worried it might be too much. And you just have to keep explaining stuff to me. Figure it out yourself, Google it! I'm not gonna be the reason for you guys getting corrupted. Alright. I mean, don't Google stuff, crap. Okay. Alright. Let's continue. He clapped his hands together, an idea suddenly coming to him. But hey, now that our group is together, would you want to go out and visit some of the old places? I've been hiding in the living room since I got here. Liz wasn't afraid to laugh at herself, bringing a hand to her chest to silently take the blame for that. I'd love to. Yeah. Without missing a beat, the others turned to you for your answer. Where to first? That's fine. I'm sure we'll figure it out along the way. And with that, the four of you headed out into the neighborhood as one. But I can't watch and Google at the same time. Skill issue, man. That's a skill issue. Even with how short the time you spent indoors was, the sun was momentarily blinding once you left the house. Squinting, you brought your hand up to shield your eyes. The pleasant summer day had yet to go away, only a few wispy clouds drifting along the sky. As you strolled down the way, Liz took the lead, followed by you and Cove walking side by side. Shiloh freely took to walking in the middle of the road, his arms idly swinging back and forth at his sides as he turned his head every which way to take in as much as he could. The original group is together again. Yeah! All four of us are together again. The only one, well, I guess Bowl-Cut isn't original. Now that I'm thinking about it. I was like, yeah, the only one missing is Bowl-Cut, but like, that's not true. He's not part of original. He didn't come in until the middle school phase. So that was step 2. This, I guess, is the original, like, step 1 cast. Huh. Yeah, I guess this is everyone that was introduced in step 1. Oh, wow. I didn't think about that, but it really is. I keep trying to think if there's any more characters, but everyone I'm thinking of was introduced in step 2, so I guess this really is all of the originals. Interesting. But either way, it's great to see Shiloh again. He's a little cutie. Shiloh freely took to walking in the middle of the road. Oh, I've read this. It was very much a trip down memory lane for him. You wondered how much the neighborhood had changed in his eyes. Not a word passed between the group about where you were headed first, but soon enough, you found yourself walking the usual path to the shopping street. Before you reached it, the sounds of it did, a collective of sandals tracking sand, the shrill calls of seagulls, the overlapping conversations of beachgoers, and random strains of music from various stalls. Wow! The odd gasp had come from Shiloh. His eyes were all lit up. Were there always so many stores in one place?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Wow. I can see why so many people come here. Hey, do you still have those nice little ice cream stands? I think so. Yay, we should get some. It'll be my treat. Thanks, Shiloh. Ice cream sounds perfect on such a hot day. How about you, Cove? You could see that, unlike Liz, Cove was struggling with the decision, brow wrinkled in thought. Finally, a hesitant smile appeared on his face as he settled on keeping to the spirit of the special occasion. Yeah, sounds good to me. Awesome. And Rain? Ooh, we can offer to pay for him, too. But knowing Shiloh, like, how he was, and I'm guessing how he is, like, he would prefer to pay for us. Like, he's more comfortable with that. I'm just, like, remembering how he was as, like, a kid. And, like, he would get, like, very uncomfortable if we were just trying to be nice to him instead. How can you struggle on getting free ice cream? That's true. That's very true. Free ice cream tastes better. So, I guess, yes, I'd like that. Thanks. Shiloh gave you a wide grin, as if you were the one buying him ice cream. The four of you continued to walk as ice cream plans were further discussed. Are you getting a popsicle, Lizzie? Yes. Hearing that, Shiloh smiled shyly. I thought you might still like that. I'm gonna get an ice cream cone. Shiloh began to turn towards Cove, but before you could ask, Cove offered up his choice. I'll get an ice cream sandwich. I'm gonna get... I mean, I have my bias. I really love ice cream sandwiches. There's a place near me that does custom ice cream sandwiches, so you can choose what type of cookie you want and what type of ice cream you want inside, and like, I love that. I love those types of ice cream sandwiches. So if I'm choosing, I would choose that. Ice cream cones are good too. I'm not a big fan of popsicles, but I do love my mint chocolate chip ice cream cones. So I think I'm gonna go with an ice cream sandwich. It's a good choice. Cove gave you a quick smile at your matching preference. You still like those, huh? Cool. Yeah, it remembers. We chose that back when we were kids too. So Shiloh remembers our preference. That's cute. Yep. There was an ice cream stall further up the street, across from a souvenir shop displaying postcards of the seaside and saltwater taffy in its windows. The stand itself was already hard to miss, with its pastel pinks and blues and its eye-catching poster boards listing every individual flavor. It was impossible to ignore once the catchy little jingle played from its speakers was added. Shiloh greeted the owner and began picking out the treats that everyone had chosen. He paid for them before handing them out to their respective owners. Sinking your teeth into the ice cream sandwich, you relished the sweet chill it left in your mouth. Liz was right. It was still a perfect treat for a summer day. Around you, everyone was eating at their own pace. Liz held her popsicle away from herself, careful not to let it drip onto her dress. She was trying to go about eating it as delicately as she could while Shiloh dug into his. You counted only 2 or 3 bites before Cove had devoured his sandwich. Shiloh laughed, also noticing the way Cove inhaled his food. Some things don't change. Some things never change. Cove, you Neanderthal. It's already finished? Cove shrugged in a little reply, his attention more focused on crumbling up the sandwich wrapper in his hand. So, what have you been doing around here since I've been gone? Well, I already told you about me attending college away from here, so I don't really live here anymore. But, to be more specific on my life, I'm pursuing a degree in architecture. Shiloh perked up at that, his mouth falling open in awe. Amazing! Thanks! Actually, I was thinking about it, and the first time I really decided I liked buildings and building them was when I would make sandcastles out on the beach with you. Hello, how are you today? By the way, I'm here to see my cute boyfriend, Cove. I'm doing good. Welcome in, Okapi. I hope you're doing good, too. Look out, Tarnished is in love with Liz. Yep. Tarnished is in love with Liz. Aw, Lizzie. At such a sincere admission from your sister, all Shiloh could do was blush and lower his head, too flattered to know what else to say. Liz laughed just as flushed. Wow, I can't speak all of a sudden. Who is Tarnished? It's the Tarnished up there. The person that just spoke after you. I'm starting to notice that Shiloh and Liz are really close. Yes, they are. They were close when they were kids. Like, they were childhood friends. You don't have to worry about competition, though, Tarnished. Shiloh is actually in another dating sim. GB Patch made another game, and Shiloh is a dateable character in that game. So him and Liz do not end up together. You're safe there. Liz laughed just as flustered, though she had been the one to say it. The atmosphere was awkward, but not unpleasant. But Shiloh is just too short for Liz, too young. I think they're only, like, 3 years apart? 2 years? Shiloh shyly glanced over at you and Cove. Then what about you two? What have you been up to? Oh. Me and Rain just graduated. High school, I mean. I've got a part-time job. I volunteer at this organization to clean up stuff, things like that. I do the exact same thing. Cove and I are doing the exact same thing. That's a secret. Just like, secret. Okay, let's see. We'll just idly explain stuff. You felt there wasn't anything super interesting to share about your life, when what you cared about was important to you, but you knew it wasn't always the same for other people. Shiloh just seemed happy to hear it. Being around him again was a little like picking up an old forgotten habit, clunky at first, but as the 4 of you talked, it started to come more naturally. And when one of you ran out of things to say, suddenly someone else remembered something new. Oh, right! Do you remember those mean old, not actually grandparents that used to live in our neighborhood? Yeah, they were so mean. Well, they're not here anymore. Oh no! They're not spending summers here anymore. They're still alive. Thank goodness. It helped that Shiloh was just as eager to hear what had gone on in his absence as people were to tell him. Soon, everyone threw out what trash they had nearby in a nearby garbage can as your group made their way down to the beach. Going down to the shore inevitably led to a certain spot. It didn't take very long for Shiloh to recognize what was in the distance. His words trailed off in the middle of his sentence, his footsteps faltering at first. Then, all at once, he broke away from the group and dashed right into the old park, giggling as he ran. "Oh, everything's so small!" His laughter petered out as he came to a stop by the swings and grabbed hold of one of the old support poles. My boyfriend Cove eat an ice cream sandwich and is a coincidence that my favorite type of ice cream is an ice cream sandwich, but with the difference that I like chocolate chip cookie sandwich ice cream. I also like ice cream sandwiches. I like to get the mint chocolate chip ones. I guess I'm kind of weird in that aspect. I know a lot of people don't really like mint chocolate chip, but like, it's my favorite. I like the taste of it. I like mint everything though. Space can vouch for me on that. He walked in a little circle around it, marveling at how easily his hand wrapped around its entirety. Emboldened by Shiloh's enthusiasm, Liz plopped herself down on one of the swing sets, only to instantly show an expression of regret. There was no way she was comfortable in that tiny seat so low to the ground, not with how she had to scrunch up her legs to fit there. Shiloh creeped up behind her. He took hold of the chains of her swing, one in each hand. "Seriously? Oh, what are you doing?" I would love to see the wedding between Tarnished and Liz. Yes! I like sea salt caramel. Ooh, that's a good one too. Caramel's usually a little too sweet for me, but I do like it. Especially the sea salt one. That salty taste makes it so good. And with a grin, Shiloh started walking back. Liz shifted in her seat to look at him. "You cannot be trying to push me. These were made for kids. It's never gonna work." But Shiloh just hummed and kept pulling her back. Resigning herself to her fate, Liz tucked her legs up as much as possible as Shiloh moved his hands to her back. With a running start, he got her forward and up as far as he could go before jumping out of the way. Liz had her eyes squeezed shut, a screech escaping her as the swing started falling backwards, and when it swung back around, there was Shiloh again to push her. She couldn't kick the ground like when you were kids. Her legs were too long for that now, but Shiloh was pushing her enough to keep the momentum going. The air was filled with the wild laughter and the almost rhythmic jingle of the swing chains. I like to imagine Rain giving salami to Cove and him inhaling the salami slice. Just like the meme of the deer eating salami. He would too. He'd eat it so fast. Cove sat against the bars of the jungle gym, wearing a bent smile as he watched them. He was fiddling with something, turning it over and over in his hands. When you craned your neck to get a better view, he obligingly lifted it up for you to see. It was a piece of shell, one side roughly and molted gray, the other side completely smooth, revealing a faint blue sheen when it caught the light. "I saw it on the beach. It's nice, isn't it?" In terms of Omega's verse. Yeah, I guess that's right. Though again, I don't really know too much about the Omega verse or anything like that. Yeah, it's a good one. No, I mean Shiloh. He seems more confident than I remember. Yeah, it's pretty cool to be playing in the park with him again. I mean, if I, got to see any of my childhood friends like that again, I would think it was amazing. I don't think I'll ever forget this. Cove nodded, leaning back to enjoy the breeze blowing in from the sea. Soon, your sister began to speak out. All right, I'm going to get off now. How do you stop this? Don't worry. Shiloh braced himself, one foot planted forward as the swing started coming back down. Then, in one quick motion, he reached up and caught the chains again. The impact had his feet skidding back in the sand, but he kept his stance steady. If Liz was surprised at suddenly being brought to a halt, she didn't show it, only tilting her head up in a smile at him. Shiloh had yet to catch his breath, though returned the smile just as brightly. He let go of the chains, walking around the swing set and briefly rubbing his hands together before offering one to Liz, which she graciously accepted, needing the help to get out of the tiny seat. I imagine Miss Cove eating ice cream sandwiches with Suncloud, the Night Fury, is eating a fish and having a good time. Yeah, that's a cute image. Alright. Then the two of them made their way back over to Ewan Cove. Liz was looking more ruffled than usual, and her sun hat was off-kilter, having held on for dear life in the entire ride. She took a moment to straighten her outfit back into place. That looked like fun. It was! Even though you were just pushing me on the swings? Yep, that was the fun part. Yeah, Shiloh was always more of like he liked to watch people have fun type. Like, he wanted to do things for people and, like, watch them have fun. Like, he was more satisfied with that. Like, when he was a kid. Some people grow out of things, but, you know, I still figure he'd be the same in that aspect. Oh, the amount of money I'd pay to have friends like that. Yeah. Huh? Hey, Shiloh. You've got an idea of what our lives have been like since you've been gone, but I've been wondering what happened to you after you moved away. Shiloh's eyes went wide, as if it was surprising to hear. You couldn't recall him talking about himself when you were all telling stories, but maybe he hadn't been able to find the right timing. He brought his hand to his chin, tapping it thoughtfully as he looked up into the side. Well, what happened was my mom decided to move back to the south, closer to where I was born. We stayed there for a few years until she got another job offering California again, thanks to the connections she had there. It was a really good job at a private boarding school, so she decided to take it. With a wide grin, he said the next part. And as a bonus, her kid, me, gets to attend the school and live in the dorms for free. I've been there since my second year of middle school. Pretty soon, I'm going to be starting my last year of high school. Liz leaned towards him with an attentive smile on her face. Have you been doing well there? Getting good grades? Got any friends? At the list of questions, Shiloh held his hands in front of himself as if they were physically things he could stave off. Yeah, to everything. It can be a little hard sometimes because of how people are in that school, but I'm happy. How people are? Cove couldn't guess what he meant. Cove couldn't guess what that meant, but Liz folded her arms, scowling. Don't tell me there's more people like that Nate guy hanging around. Oh, hun. So, like, I'm not sure if I'm going to eventually play this game on the channel or not, but, yeah, GB Patch made another game, where, Shiloh is a dateable character in it, and, all of the dateable characters in that game are just, like, awful. They're worse. They're just as bad and worse as Nate. Let's see. Liz and Shiloh are definitely getting together. Nah. Yeah, but is he the main character? He's one of the dateable characters. Yeah. It's like Cove in that respect, where, like, he's one of the dateable characters. That game doesn't have, like, a main dateable character. There's, like, 6 characters, I believe, and you can date one of the 6 characters. So whichever character you choose is, like, the main character. Shiloh rubbed at his cheeks, laughing nervously. He glanced from the bars of the jungle gym, to the laces of his shoes, to the trees swaying in the distance, unsure of where to rest his gaze. Not exactly. Nate doesn't mean to be mean. He just kind of is. You're not into married girls. She's not married! Are you shipping Liz and Shiloh together? Is that your headcanon? He's the school's #1 performer for athletics and academics. He always takes on so much responsibility that the only possible way he can finish all of it is if absolutely nothing goes wrong. but that's impossible, so he's always stressed and ready to snap. He can't handle it when someone seems to be causing a problem. That's why during the field trip, he was upset when I went off on my own like that. Still, he's really smart and reliable and sensitive, and he cares a lot. Most of the time, he doesn't even realize his way of dealing with stuff upsets other people. He'll give the flowers to Cove instead. The plot twist is that Liz and I have already run away together! Space comes in with the steel! Girl, that little interaction that they had is enough to get me to fall in love with someone. I get it. Shot in space. You like Derek. No, Derek is my boy, my buddy, my son. Who's stealing who? Who's shipping who? This is important. Cove had a patient smile on his face, listening earnestly as Shiloh rattled off his list of Nate's good traits. You know him pretty well. Are you actually friends? Well, not exactly. Me and Nate are in the same after-school group. About once a month, me, 6 other students, and a supervisor get together to talk. Man, it's so fun listening to this after I've played that game. Because, like, again, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to play this game on the channel. If enough people are interested, I might. I have some other things for book club I'm reading first, though. But, man, that game is basically taking, 7 of the most awful people at school and putting them in a room together, and the one poor, nice counselor trying to talk to them and make them, like, talk to each other about their feelings and stuff and be good people. It's a fun game. We did it all of last year, and I think this year we're going to be in the same group again. I hope so. Why would you be in a group with him? You want to elaborate on that, Shiloh? Yeah, there's no rush on those kind of things, Tarnished. Don't worry about it. Despite Shiloh vouching for him, you still weren't convinced that Nate could be any sort of pleasant to be around. Liz vigorously nodded along with your total agreement. Personally, I'd still appreciate having a word with Nate about his communication skills. Her tone of voice was low and pointed. You'd be worried for Nate, if not for the playful smile that accompanied her words. Shiloh let out a little laugh at that. I do have Nate's number, but he wouldn't pick up. The people in my group only answer when they feel like hearing from me, so usually I have to wait for them to call. Either that, or they'd never even consider answering my calls or calling me, or talking to me at all, unless the supervisor forces them to. It was such a bleak description of his dynamic with his group, but he didn't seem to realize it until he glanced up and saw the concerned looks of everyone on everyone's face. His smile fell. He hastened to add one more thing. Well, except for one, who will always answer for sure. Oh? She immediately perked up.
Really?
So that's a friend of yours? Shiloh just like, Oh, you're worried about that kind of thing, Tarnished? Don't worry about that. It's the same. Anyone under the age of 20 is like 12. I'll stand by that. Yeah, I feel that. I get the same way sometimes. He hesitated to answer, something Cove picked up on. Not exactly. Yeah, I'd like to be friends, though. All right. Liz crossed her arms together once more. Grim-faced... Oh, wait, what am I saying? Yeah. Grim-faced like she was, the commander of a ship about to lead her little crew into battle. You should call them right now. What? The panic. The panic on Shiloh's face. If you want to be friends with them, I can help. If you're going to be in the same group again, then you should at least try to get along. No, I couldn't. He quickly grew flustered, his tongue stumbling over his sentences. I don't want to be a bother.
I mean...
Liz, what are we gonna do? Watch him while he talks to someone on the phone? Okay, but listen, I've literally had this happen before. I went to a camp, and, like, it was, like, a college camp. So, like, I wasn't in college, I was in, middle school, but it was, like, a college prep camp. And so we were staying in a college dorm for, like, a couple of weeks. And this girl thought I was too shy. And so she was like, here, call one of my friends randomly and talk on the phone with him for at least 30 minutes. And I was like, what? It was so wild. And like, she actually made me do it. So I had to call one of her friends. And like, he was nice and all, but it was so awkward. Oh man. I almost forgot about that. This like burst back that memory for me. Alright. No, Cove. Shiloh. The last syllable of Shiloh's name trailing off into nothing, it soon became clear Liz had not fully thought out the plan yet, but she wouldn't be Liz if she just stopped there. And that is how I met your mother, kids. That'd be crazy. Shiloh, could you put them on video call and we could all talk together, of course? She clapped her hands together, a wide smile on her face that didn't leave room for dissenting opinions.
All right.
It's a good idea. It'll work. I would be so socially anxious about this whole thing. Liz, I'm not ready to talk to some random stranger, and I don't think Shiloh is either. I actually don't like this plan. Liz, I don't like this plan at all. I have no words for this. Cove gave a long, suffering sigh at Liz's suggestion. Come on, Shiloh. We'll just talk to them. Say that we're your friends from out of town. The worst that could happen is nothing changes. But once they have more chances to talk to you, I know they'll be convinced to be better friends. It's going to turn out okay. Shiloh stalled to answer, but his head was already hovering over one of the pockets of his pants. His hands was already hovering. All right, we can talk. Yes! Liz clenched a hand into a fist, cheering as Shiloh officially reached into the pocket and pulled out his phone. Kind of basic phone, if you ask me. I imagine the SunCloud Cove's Night Fury watching them while he is hidden behind the trees, watching them talking. Yeah, just the trees watching this awkward exchange. You noticed it was the same type of model as your own, but his had a red case around it. The screen lit up and Shiloh requested a video call with some number in his contacts. None of them on the list had names. He must remember what number belongs to that person. Oh, better than me. I could never. He inched closer to the three of you, so everyone could hear better. Vaguely, you wondered how this looked from the outside. 4 teenagers on the verge of adulthood, hanging out on an old playground, all huddled up around a single phone. Strange? Suspicious? The ringing of the phone broke you out of your musings. You kept your eyes on it, your heart speeding at the end of each dial tone, thinking, could this be it, only to have another start up? It had been ringing for a while when you started to think of what Cove said. Maybe all of you watching as Shiloh talked on the phone. Maybe even that wouldn't happen. Shiloh could sense the awkwardness in the air, smiling to try to dispel it. This is normal, don't worry. Just as he said it, the call ended, not going into voicemail. Shiloh clicked to redial. He never answers on the first call. He always does on the second. That's how he is. At least with most people. There are exceptions. You, Liz, and Cove furtively shared ambiguous looks, none of you wanting to accidentally discourage Shiloh. Then you focused on the phone again as it started to ring once more. The jingling suddenly cut off in the middle, followed by the faint sounds of white noise. With a big sigh and flushed cheeks, Shiloh brought the phone up to his face. A voice, low and groggy, came rasping out of the speakers. Hello? Shiloh, on the other hand, was much more chipper. Hi, I'm visiting a town I used to live in when I was little, and I wanted to introduce my group mate to the people I know back then. Some of them have already met Nate. Can you say hey to them too? And with that rushed introduction, Shiloh stuck the phone out towards Cove, gesturing for him to greet the person on the other end. Although Cove hadn't been on board in the beginning, the only indication of that now was the lopsided tilt of his smile. He turned his gaze down at the screen, opening his mouth to speak, only to stutter to a complete stop. Are you guys ready for this? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for who we're gonna see? Cause it's fascinating. Huh? All Cove could do was sputter and gape at the screen. His reaction had Shiloh's brow crinkling in worry. Oh no. If you're wondering why I'm so quiet, it's because I am fighting a flying pigfish dragon monstrosity using bees. Good luck with that. What? Shiloh's groupmate didn't sound particularly impressed with how his conversation was going so far. Shiloh frowned, retracting his arm away from Cove. As he did so, the screen tilted towards you, and you caught a glimpse of what was on the screen. Light green hair, sharp orange eyes shadowed with bags, and icy pale skin, all tied together to make up the scowling face of a person who clearly had no desire to be here. You knew him. We all know him. Though you may not fully recognize him, because his hair is a bit different now. But we know him. Who is he? Only a certain kid that we met, with a bowl cut. And got punched in the face. A flood of memories arose, flashes of that one summer years ago, at this very same park, you holding onto an arrangement of fruit, Derek and Cove at your side. And that kid, mean as a tiny chihuahua, snapping at everyone who dared to come close. The bowl cut kid! It really is the original gang, yeah! Uh-huh. Cove still couldn't take his wide eyes off the phone. He spoke now in a very small voice, almost a squeak. Jeremy? Yeah? His voice was mildly annoyed at this point. How do you know his name was Jeremy? You didn't tell them? No, I only called you somebody from the group at school. Jeremy regarded Cove cautiously, for the first time giving the situation a little of his focus. Cove bristled, sucking in a long, deep, dramatic breath.
Oh my god.
All at once, he started shouting, and not just with his voice. He waved his arms around, gesturing wildly with his hands as he repeatedly yelled, "Oh my god," with all sorts of inflections. Okay, Google how to beehive box someone across a phone screen. But holy shit, talk about a glow up. I mean, Jeremy is also a dateable character in that other game. That's why it's so funny to me, too. Oh my god. Oh my god. At these antics, Jeremy gave a short huff at a sigh through his teeth, the sound tiny over the phone speakers. What is this, Shiloh? Are you trying to make me suffer? Are you still mad about what happened at the amusement park? I was on your side, you know. Liz, who had been entirely lost in this whole time, finally spoke up. Huh? What happened at the amusement park? But no one paid no one paid that question any mind. I don't know what's going on. Have you met each other before? Nope. It was an immediate reply from Jeremy, but then those stinging eyes squinted. Wait. There was a flash of recognition there as he leaned his head forward and scrutinized the both of you. His already wide frown somehow found a way to grow deeper at this realization. Oh, it's you people again. The screen instantly went blank. Shiloh gasped, looking from his phone to the rest of the group. He hung up? Jeremy doesn't just hang up on people like that. What happened? He hangs up. He does. Jeremy, in all of the playthroughs I've done, Jeremy doesn't hang up. Jeremy doesn't hang up. Did he hang up because we punch him? He hangs up the phone if we punch him. How could he forget our scars? I feel like this is my fault. So again, like, I played this game before, and in all of the playthroughs I've done, I haven't punched Jeremy. I've just, like, sternly talked to Jeremy. This is the first playthrough I've done where I punched him. And he hangs up the phone. He hangs up the phone if you punch him. I mean, I can't blame him for that. Probably not the nicest memory. Yeah, probably getting punched was no fun. I imagine probably not the best memory to look back upon. Don't look at me. I've never met that kid before. You could feel Cove's stare poking and prodding at the side of your head. You caught his expression, wide-eyed and tense. You knew what happened. Cove knew what happened, but he wasn't going to give an answer to Shiloh. Oh, well, in the past, I kinda hit him. Or we could just say, I punched him. He deserved it. The no remorse response. Yeah, I punched a kid. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm choosing it. That's funny. You what? Rain, really? You resisted the urge to grin and simply shrugged. I've got to call him back. You can make up. He got what was coming to him. Shiloh's gaze met yours for a split second. You couldn't quite read his expression, and then he turned his attention back to redialing his number. Shiloh's just like, that's a little frightening. Anyways, we're gonna call back and learn how to apologize. The phone rang for a long time, long enough that you were surprised when Jeremy actually picked up. He answered with an even longer sigh.
What?
Shiloh held the phone close to his face, looking down at the screen with large, apologetic eyes. Are you okay? I'd be better if you hadn't called back. Aw, Jeremy, can't we talk it over? I don't want any of us fighting.
Do I have to?
I like Jeremy. He was my favorite character in that other mentioned dating sim. He is a lot of fun. I beat the pig, fish, dragon monstrosity. Yay! Good job! Yeah, I think so. Shiloh held his phone out towards you and Cove once more. Next to you, Cove glared defensively and silently. Hi there! Sorry for hitting you. With my bees, nice! Play Terraria and you'll know how it feels. Oh, actually, that's one game I actually plan on playing eventually. I keep seeing that on Steam, and I've always heard good things about it. Let's see. Hi there! Cautiously, you raised a hand and waved it. Jeremy stared at you, stone-faced. Finally, Jeremy's shoulders dipped silently. He made the most exaggerated sigh you'd ever heard since the previous one, at least.
Sorry.
I don't remember exactly what I did or what I said to you, but sorry. I like how he is automatically like, yeah, it was probably my fault you hit me. What? Jeremy sighed yet again. You were sensing a pattern. His gaze rolled over to Cove. I don't know what I don't know what I was like as a kid. Or I do know what I was like as a kid. Whoops. Well, okay, but who is that apology for? It better be for me and Rain. He spoke sternly. There was no hiding the shakiness present. That didn't matter. Cove coming to your defense by confronting Jeremy brought a warm smile to your face. Jeremy, on the other hand, continued to be unimpressed. The corner of his lip twitched. I didn't need to know what the teenage guy equivalent of a smushy squeak is. What? But now I do. Thanks for that. Jeremy? A small offended noise escaped Cove. Unfortunately, it was also squeaky sounding, his face immediately burning red with embarrassment. Jeremy's not exactly a bundle of joy. I think he's the exact opposite of a bundle of joy, honestly. He evolved, but the evolution form was not something pleasant? Well, it's not, like, bad, per se. That's my squeak toy you're talking about. I have to choose that. That's so funny. With your thumb, you pointed at Cove for added emphasis. Cove huffed in disbelief, but he couldn't fight the smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Jeremy didn't react at all. He continued watching the four people on the other end of this unwanted call lackadaisically. The apology is for whoever. Anyone who had to deal with me back then wasn't having a good time. Rain just had the spine not to take it, and that's whatever. Amazed, Cove took a few processing moments before he could respond. He blinked and rubbed his head, he blinked and rubbed the back of his neck. Oh, thanks. I mean, it's no problem. I've still got my eyes on you. I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna be nice to him. I accept your apology, Jeremy. This moment was the absolute last thing you had expected today, but you couldn't help but be pleased. It happened. Whatever. Following Cove's eyes, you watched it dart from Shiloh to Jeremy, openly wondering what had happened to Jeremy over these past few years. So you're nice now? I don't know about that, Cove. I don't know if I'd call his apathetic attitude nice, necessarily. Apathetic, I think, is just the right word for it. Nope. Yeah, I love Jeremy. I love that. I don't throw tantrums or pick fights anymore, but I'm not nice. Jeremy shook his head in disbelief. At least he knows what he is. Nice would be a stretch, yeah? The Squeaktoid comment wasn't a compliment, you know. I don't have the energy to get angrily worked up like I used to as a kid. It's all pointless anyway. Now I'm just miserable. His tone was even grumblier than usual and dragged the syllables out on the last word for extra emphasis. Oh. An awkward laugh escaped Shiloh, then his mouth pulled into a demure smile. Don't let what Jeremy says about himself get you down too. He's got people who care about him and make sure he's okay, like me. Don't listen to Shiloh. He's perfect just the way he is. That's right. That's right. Alright, let's see. I'm still not over the fact that you two know each other and what was the biggest coincidence in the world. That got a snort out of Jeremy. Me neither. Okay, seriously, how long am I meant to be out of the loop here? Her expression twisted in frustration as Liz rubbed her right temple. Why am I the only one who doesn't know this kid? Shiloh goes to school with him, that's fine. But how'd the two of you meet him and I didn't? I'll explain. You were there, I think. He was around town one summer, maybe 5 years ago. Is that all? While Liz seemed a bit underwhelmed, Shiloh appeared to be utterly amazed. You had to hold back a small laugh.
Really?
You know Jeremy as a little kid? What was he like? I've only known him for a year and a half. Well...
Well... He was, bowl cut.
I think all the anger and pain can be surmised in bowl cut. His voice immediately hushed into nothing. You could see Cove wince just thinking on those past encounters. Actually, Cove does a good Jeremy expression. Why don't you do that instead? I'm so sorry, Cove. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna throw you under the bus. I'm about to do that. I'm so sorry. But this is so funny. The immediate betrayal in his eyes. That look is one of pure betrayal. Oh, you've got an impression of me, huh? Cove's body stiffened in fear. Jeremy leaned forward just a bit. Sure, go ahead. Do it. Jeremy spoke dispassionately, but it somehow still felt like a dare. Really, he throws his hair back. He can do it. Don't do that to my boyfriend. No one teases my boyfriend or else you will see. Come on, it's too good. Cove is adorable. He deserves to be teased every once in a while. It's that gentle teasing, you know? Yeah, that'd be great. Cove shook his head, along with a stilted laugh. He was sweating in place. I really shouldn't. It's not very flattering. Do it, Cove. He's on the phone. What could happen? Yeah, what's he gonna do? Come all the way over here? I bet. More broken chuckles fell out of him, and Cove turned his face towards the ground. Sorry. Drooping your shoulders, you accepted that Cove wasn't going to do the impression. Shiloh frowned in disappointment. Jeremy groaned at the atmosphere. Whatever. I'll do my own impression. He's a good sport about it.
You are stupid. You are stupid. You are stupid. And don't forget, you are stupid.
There's an entire voice line. There is an entire voice line of it. I don't care what type of teasing you do to him. I will not accept my boyfriend gets bullied in either way. It's like couples teasing. It's a form of affection. Me and my friends do it all the time with each other. It's, a way of showing affection. He delivered the rapid-fire insults in a blandly annoyed tone. After a pause, he went back to his normal tone of complete disinterest. So that, but louder and shrillier. I'm not gonna yell for this. That was a weak impression, Jeremy. Like, come on. You remember how you were. Come on. A teasing grin spread across your face. You thought his attempt would have been vastly improved if he still had a bowl cut. At that confirmation, Shiloh burst into uncontrolled laughter. Even when he calmed moments later, gasping for breath, there was still a wide grin plastered on his face. I still can't even imagine Jeremy being like that. Very weak. I can't imagine him not being like that. They both chuckled again, Cove's mouth pulled into a bent smile. I mean, Jeremy hasn't made fun of my eyebrows once this whole conversation. Unbelievable. Huh. Jeremy blinked and focused all his attention onto Cove. His eyes unmistakably narrowed and in on his eyebrows. He didn't say anything at first, and then his words came out in a mumble. That makes sense. I guess insulting eyebrows was just what I did as a kid. What does that mean? What do you think it means? You weren't the only kid in the world with bad eyebrows, and you're not the only one I picked on for it. Jeez, he's mean.
Seriously?
I wasn't. I couldn't. You couldn't help yourself, could you? Nope. Wow. So, what made their eyebrows bad? Are you curious if yours are better? By terrible eyebrows standard, at least. Are we having this discussion? Are we having the discussion? Are we gonna do a ranking on horrible eyebrows? Is that what we're doing? I imagine this Suncloud's Cove Night Fury laughing about Jeremy's weak impression. Yes, exactly. So he still thinks Cove has bad eyebrows. Yep, looks like it. Did they miss that? No, I don't think anyone missed it.
Sigh.
Did he just voice out sigh? Incredulously, Cove looked from Jeremy to you and then back to him again. You had to question if you heard that right. He spoke the word sigh instead of actually sighing. Noticing the reaction, Jeremy sighed for real, but he continued on to answer Cove's question. The guy has particularly odd hair coloring. White hair, but only on the top of his head. Every other strand of his body is dark brown, including his immensely bushy eyebrows. He was born that way, it's not dyed. So, you were the scarred boy with dumb, wavy eyebrows, and he was the white-haired boy with stupid caterpillar eyebrows. Ow. Unexpectedly, a loud gasp came from Shiloh at that description. No, you picked on Pran for his eyebrows? I did. I'm sure you find that hilarious. No, that's not very funny. So he said, but Shiloh was smothering laughter. The unconvinced note in Jeremy's voice didn't surprise you. Okay, wait, give me a second. Let me just... Jeremy rolled his eyes in the slowest, most exaggerated way possible. When he made a complete circle, he spoke flatly, with Shiloh broke into a fit of giggles. There. Who's Pran? Shiloh knows him too.
Well,
Jeremy and Pran have known each other for a long time. They managed to go to the same boarding school later on. I met them both there in the spring of last year. We're all group mates. Jeremy's gaze slid away from Shiloh. He looked somewhere between you and Cove. Pran and I met about 4.5 years ago, back when I was still an intolerable brat and Pran was meek. You can only imagine how amazing that combination was. Yeah, it must make those group meetings awkward. Nope. Somehow, someway, for some reason, Pran chose to stubbornly stick with me for as long as we've known each other. He's my best friend. Yeah, and in that other game I was talking about, Pran is another dateable character. So I know who these characters are. This whole chapter is basically an advertisement for that game, I suppose. What? It's surprising, I know. I have a best friend, and it's the caterpillar brow guy, of all people. But I guess things bounced out in the end. Pran's timid nature is good and dead. He grew up to be colder than even me. I'm mopey and he's brooding. A perfect match. Two bees in a ruining everyone's life pod.
gross.
Don't quote Everett. Cove whined after Jeremy snapped his last remark. Now, who's Everett? You don't want to know. Yeah, you don't want to know. Shiloh hummed, and he watched his 3 old friends with an amused smile. He was having fun. Before you could say anything, Jeremy continued. Everett is also part of the group, unfortunately. But he chose not to elaborate further than that. Liz sighed this time. You could feel her frustration. You couldn't blame her for that. She hadn't been able to participate much at all. She didn't know Jeremy then. So there was no basis for reminiscing now. And there was a 10-year gap in her history with Shiloh. The whole situation struck an odd chord with you. 2 boys that you knew separately came to know each other, and now they know each other much better than know any of you. Shiloh was almost a stranger. Well, at least the prick evolved. Yeah, he evolved, but at what cost? Okay, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about this, to be honest. I mean, life, finds a way, I suppose. So, let's, I guess we'll be glad that things are going alright, I guess. Sure. So, all it takes for someone to evolve is changing hairstyles? Well, I mean, the bowl cut is something that I feel changes a lot of people. I think growing out of the bowl cut changes quite a few people. Jeremy hadn't left the call, and you were learning bits and pieces about Shiloh's new world outside of Sunset Bird. You were taking both as little wins. Turning to the three of you, Shiloh smiled apologetically. You wondered if he was picking up on how in the dark Cove and Liz were feeling. He was perceptive when he wanted to be. Hey, is there anything you want to hear about Jeremy? I can tell you all about him. We should get to know each other better. Don't do that. It'll be okay. Jeremy whined, but Shiloh brushed his complaints off. He remained happily focused on the rest of you, and Liz seemed to perk up at the conversation shift. That sounds great! We should get to know Jeremy. So, who wants to go first? Despite being eager, it was obvious that Liz didn't have any ideas for herself. Jeremy let out a very long sigh. Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm ready for this. We can ask him anything we want. Can I get his number? It's just so random. It's the most like, why? Why would you want this? What? Why? Sure. Shiloh's just giving his number out. Ignoring Jeremy again, Shiloh immediately started listing off the number for you. Jeremy grimaced while you contentedly saved it in your contact list. And right in front of Cove. It's cool. We'll invite Jeremy to the wedding. You know, the guy we punched in the face? He's gonna be our best man. Oh my gosh. Let's see. When's his birthday? May 4th. He's a Taurus. Jeremy refused to comment on that. Instead, he rolled his eyes. What's his full name? Jeremy Marion King. Isn't that neat? Why do you even want to know that? Are you planning on stealing my identity? Yes. He crossed his arms, and your eyes grew wide with shock. That was the last thing on your mind, but before you could say anything, he sighed. You can have it. That stunned you into silence. Jeremy! What are his parents like? They're nice and optimistic. They work really hard, but they can be smothering, sort of, and usually embarrass Jeremy. Jeremy seemed unenthused by Shiloh's answer. Does he have any siblings? No, Jeremy is an only child. He doesn't have pets either. Although Pran spends almost no time with his own family, and a lot with Jeremy's, it's kind of like a sibling relationship, I think. Don't bring Pran into this awful thing. Okay. Does he have any hobbies? We can just ask so much. We're just getting this kid's entire profile. Reading and crafty handy work type of stuff. Oh, and archery. Jeremy's really talented. Seriously? That's really cool. Jeremy scoffed at the compliments. He clearly wanted to move on from the conversation. Is he doing well in school? Yeah, Nate is still doing the best, but Jeremy gets respectable scores. Or, unless by doing well you mean to ask if he's having a good time or making friends, then in that case, no, he's not. You weren't sure how to respond to that at all. Glancing back at Jeremy, he rolled his eyes. How tall is he? 5'5". He's kind of short. What happened to his bowl cut and glasses? Eeyore. Jeremy's Eeyore. That's what he's turned into. He's evolved into it. He had a bowl cut? That sent Shiloh into a fit of laughter, while Jeremy shook his head disapprovingly. Through chuckles, Shiloh continued with his best guess. His mom and dad probably decided that back then, and now he picked, or they developed new taste over the years. As for the glasses, Jeremy wears contacts at school and when he's out and about, but he still wears glasses when he's home or working at his part-time at his parents' hobby shop. Interesting. He's as tall as me? I didn't think that it's that short. I thought 5'5" was average. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What did happen at the amusement park? I don't actually know. I can only think of one time when we were both there. I'm not sure what he's talking about. As far as I could tell, I didn't do anything to upset him, and I know he didn't do anything to me. That's what you're going with, Shiloh. Jeremy, what happened? I'm not gonna tell you. It's humiliating. And Shiloh knows I'm not gonna say anything. It's why he won't explain either. For several quiet moments, everyone stared at Shiloh and Jeremy in confusion. Shiloh had a similar look on his face before averting his eyes. Sorry, I can't help you with this one, Rain. Play the other game to find out! Is he single? Oh! If there was any that I think is the most red flag for Cove and I's relationship, it's this question. This is the one that I'm like, why would you ask that? We're still asking because I'm asking everything. That had Shiloh giggling. He smiled down at the screen. Jeremy isn't in anything official, but he does have someone he goes on dates with from time to time. You called that dating? I call it punishment for all my wrongdoings in this life. Cove scrunched his face and glanced at you like he wasn't sure he heard Jeremy correctly. Shiloh smiled understandingly. It's complicated. She makes him happy against his will. Ah, that kind of relationship. Nah, she's fixing him up with Liz. Oh, look out, Tarnished. Okay. Shiloh started chuckling again. Jeremy, on the other hand, let out a loud sigh, clearly done with the current topic. That's everything I can think of. I literally asked everything on the list. Cool, thanks for asking. Cove, do you have any questions for Jeremy? Stunned, it took Cove a moment to recover from being on the spot. But ultimately, his eyes shifted from Shiloh's and locked with Jeremy's. They remained like that long enough that it was as if he could speak telepathically. Alright, yeah, I have a question, but Shiloh can't answer. Fine, ask me. Let's get it over with. What do you think of me? Even if you don't think I'm tough or something, do you still feel like I'm stupid and wrong about everything? A crack formed in Jeremy's lackadaisical expression. His barely opened eyes lifted a little more, but he still spoke flatly. My opinion on stuff is basically the least important thing you could ever worry about. It's pointless. Well, I'm still asking, so... Cove, right? That's your name? Cove nodded. There was a tint of pink in his cheeks as he bashfully rubbed his arm. Okay, Cove, you seem like a guy who cares a lot about things that don't matter. It sounds pretty dumb to me. I outgrew that years ago. And being as soft as you act, it isn't something that I would ever do, basically. But you know what the absolute dumbest thing really is? Cove shook his head with creased brows. He then leaned forward just a bit, like he couldn't risk not hearing what revelation Jeremy was going to bestow on him. Making yourself miserable if you don't have to be. Oh. If you and the rest of the people here have a way to enjoy existence, then you should go ahead and do that. Stay gentle and happy, dumb eyebrow guy. You have my approval if that's what you wanted. I hope you all have wonderful lives and suffer as little as possible. Wow. The word tumbled out softly. Cove was earnestly amazed by Jeremy's words.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's not gonna make you stay happy? What? Talking to a downer like me. So really, you should end this conversation right now, and none of you should ever call me again for the rest of your lives. That sounds good. Can I hang up already? Not now, not now that I have your number. Oh, wait, Jeremy, I can't never call you again. Just shut up, Shiloh. Unfazed, Shiloh laughed with a tilt of his head. Building something good up only to try undercutting it. That's the Jeremy I know.
Sorry.
That little smirk. The word dripped with sarcasm and was accompanied by a smirk. It was the first thing you saw him smile this entire time. Cove piped up meekly, an awkward smile on his own face. Maybe my opinion is totally skewed because I'm comparing things now to how Jeremy used to be, but I mean, you don't seem that bad. What? Cove needed to look away from Jeremy's painfully sharp eyes to finish his thought. I'd probably be okay with talking with you again. Sigh, come on. You can have standards. I want to keep talking to Jeremy too. I regret asking Angie to punch him. Favorite character. Yep, I love Jeremy. Like, unironically, I love Jeremy. Jeremy groaned loudly at your acceptance of him. Your smile only widened in amusement, and Liz clapped her hands. Wonderful! Now that we're so much closer to this Jeremy kid, I think we can all get along together and be friends. Friends? Jeremy repeated the word back like it was a foreign phrase. He genuinely didn't seem to understand. That's right! If we keep working on it, I don't see why the 5 of us can't be friends. He's so confused by this. This information confuses him so much. He stared at Liz incredulously for several moments, her expression twisted into fresh confusion of her own. Okay, 3 things. First, I already have 1 whole friend, and that's more than enough. Second, I still don't know who you are. Did you even say your name at any point? And most importantly, third, one of the people in this friendship is Shiloh Fields. He and I aren't gonna be friends. Why not? And I'm Liz, by the way. Couldn't help getting that in. It's easier to make Jeremy miserable this way than to punch him. Although punching him was fun. It was a little fun. Because he's Shiloh. Our relationship is already as good as it's ever gonna be. He mercifully leaves me be most of the time, and on a weird occasion where he needs something, I just get it over with. Then he goes away again, and I have a modicum of peace. You know how it works, right? You're in it with me. We have the best arrangement possible with it this way. Jeremy looked to Shiloh seriously to back up the validity of their relationship, but Shiloh shook his head with a laugh. I don't try to hang around too much, but that's because you're shy. You're the only one who thinks that setup is actually a good idea. Sorry. Jeremy turned his face to the side and let out another exaggerated sigh. Cove and Liz joined on Shiloh's mirth. Jeremy got no support. Of course you'd say that. Why did I even bother? That's Shiloh's famous memory of yours. Liz, chuckling, stopped. Wait, what does that mean, Shiloh's famous memory? What? Whatever. Basically, Shiloh annoyingly remembers everything that happens for all eternity. At least until some piece of info he has isn't helpful anymore, or if he's got explaining to do, then magically all of a sudden he doesn't know anything about it. If I ever knew the bowl-cut kid would actually grow as a person. That's the thing, people can grow and change. His boldly inconsistent recollection of situations is pretty much a running joke. It's Shiloh's shtick. One of them, anyway. A scowl dug into Liz's face as Jeremy spoke. Cove lost his smile seeing her reaction. Shiloh remained silent with his big childlike eyes locked on your sister. Jeremy began to shrink away from the screen at the changing atmosphere. He broke eye contact with everyone. I'm guessing he didn't mention that. No, he didn't. And he said he forgot something to you. I do recall him saying a little something like that. Sorry. But, well, apparently you had the pleasure of meeting Nate. You know me, and I talked a bit about Pran and Everett too. We're all in that unbearable group, and we're all unbearable people. What an amazing coincidence, huh? What we're about is kind of hard to hide. I'm gonna go now. I don't want to be the fifth wheel of your own little group. You three people have a good day, I guess. And Shiloh, I'll see you back at school.
Bye.
Jeremy promptly ended the call. Just as people had begun to warm up to him, he accidentally found a new way to ice the mood again. Shiloh now averted his own gaze, put his phone away, and chuckled. I know that Jeremy didn't think highly of me, but it's even worse than I thought. That's really sad. Shiloh. Her firm tone immediately brought Shiloh's focus back to her. Once she got his attention, however, Liz's voice became small. When we first met in the city, did you know who we were? Did you pretend not to recognize us? The two old friends watched each other for a beat, but ultimately Shiloh closed his eyes with a lopsided smile. Aw, Lizzie, you've gotta know I could never really forget you. Liz was speechless, but it wasn't quiet. Cove couldn't stop himself from shouting out. Oh my god, you were lying to them? Lying is a strong word. I was improvising. Yeah, that makes more sense than you not figuring it out. I mean, from my point of view, I kind of saw this as more of like, this was an awkward situation, and Shiloh was just trying to avoid it as best as he could. So like, I'm not really the most upset. I mean, I guess it can kind of sting. I get why Liz would react like this, but I don't have a strong reaction to it. So, I'll choose that one. It was weird to think he was trying to trick you, but the interaction was a lot more understandable that way. Go home, Shiloh, or go to my house and wait there until we can send you home. Okay. With his shoulders dipped and head low, Shiloh obediently left the park alone. After he disappeared up the road, Liz sat her butt down right into the sand with no concern for how dirty her dress might get this time. We'll stay with our sister. You can go. We're done. Cove shared an unsure look with you. She wanted to be alone, but this wasn't the time for that. Liz, we don't want to go. Accepting that you were going to be here for this, she let out a groan. At the same time, Liz pulled the sides of her hat down, gripping it tightly in frustration. I can't believe he pretended he didn't know us. Since when was Shiloh too good to catch up with acquaintances? It's infuriating. Am I an idiot for thinking we could talk? We'll take her arm. You wriggled even closer to your big sister and latched onto the arm on your side. She still didn't stop gripping her hat, but you didn't let go of her either. No, you're not an idiot. Yeah, Shiloh's a tool. I know, I shouldn't care. It doesn't matter if one person doesn't want to be my bestie. He's not the greatest man on earth. I'll be fine. But I brought him here all the way from the other side of the state, and I didn't even know why he did any of this. Liz finally removed her hands from the brim of her hat in order to rub at her temples instead. It blows! Cove snorted some nervous laughter at the unexpected phrasing. She didn't mind it. Aw, sister support, yeah. Go and confront Shiloh, please. I think, like, if we confront him, we can only really yell at him, though, and I don't really, think that's the correct course of action. Let's see. Aw, sister support. Yeah! Supporting your sister is very important. Okay. Let's see. I'll hurl him into the ocean. Ha! I'm here for you, Liz.
Thank you.
I'm always here for you, Liz. Always be there for family. Intimidated. Sorry, I saw your thing too late. I would have pressed that. Imagine Cove going away and going to the trees to see his Night Fury friend, and hates a conversation, and SunCloud comforts Cove. Yeah! That's cute. Alright. Thanks, baby sister. She squished you tight and rocked you back and forth in a dramatic hug. You let out a Cove-like squeak. I love you. I love you too. And what is family for? Well, I thought it was for hogging the phone while growing up, but this works. She released you with a shaky, self-impressed laugh. Oh, and thank you too, Cove, for being around. We're going to officially be a family one day, right? Hey, what are you implying? Hey now. She shot him a wry smile, and he tensed up, face going red. He was willing to take her teasing if it made her feel better. Don't mention it. Good. Liz rested her eyes after those last couple words. It eased your heart to see her feel better. Cove let out a soft sigh of relief. Hey. Cove then brought his face close to yours so he could speak in a whisper. Are you okay? I know Liz, was his best friend, but you knew him too. And you were there when he did this whole pretend improvisation act. I'm okay. Honestly, doesn't bother me that much. Liz is proposing for Cove. And she's like, hurry up. We know it's gonna happen. Just hurry up, you two. Then I'm glad. He doesn't deserve to be gone for 10 years and suddenly mess with everyone's emotions. Cove ended his checkup by reaching over to pat on your shoulder, reassuringly. Your longtime neighborhood group sat together quietly in the sand, just enjoying the feeling of familiarity and support. You weren't entirely sure how much time passed, but you were eventually caught off guard by a soft call in the distance. In unison, the three of you turned your head around, and there, standing on the edge of the playground, was Shiloh himself. He waved. We'll wave back. It was a simple sign to show you didn't reject his reappearance. You got a lot of nerve coming here now. It's a good thing your name is Fields because I'm gonna put you in the grass. Just imagine waving to him in a friendly manner and then saying that. Why did Shiloh get Liz so angry? Yeah, he pretended not to know her when she saw him again. He was on a field trip. And, like, this was a while ago. It was in the prologue for this, game. And Shiloh pretended that he didn't know us when we approached him. And so, like, but he said later, like, oh yeah, I remembered you guys when Liz texted me again, and that's why, but it turns out, like, he actually knew her the entire time and was just purposely pretending he didn't. I'm okay, Cove, my sweetheart. Thank you for comforting me. Best boyfriend I have. Yeah, Cove is the best. He's so cute. He lied to her and now is avoiding her. Yep. I was so happy for them. It'll get better. I will punch you in the face just like I socked Jeremy. Oh my gosh. Do you have something to say? Let's be a little less unhinged. What's that? I couldn't hear you from over there. But don't get up on my account. I'll come to you. Really, Shiloh? All right. You knew he heard what you said. Shiloh approached with easy strides, as if he had been welcomed. You were floored with how much confidence, or shamelessness, the boy was apparently capable of now. Liz turned her face and refused to acknowledge what was happening. She might have been trying to think happy thoughts and wish Shiloh's presence away. Unfortunately, it didn't work. When Shiloh arrived, he plopped down in the sand with the rest of you, his legs folded crisscross.
Hi.
Get lost, Shiloh. I will, in just a minute. What do you want now? Well, I figured you'd want to talk to me after you'd had some space. I ought to let you do that, even if you're gonna yell at me. Liz finally faced him, to be free to snap at Shiloh with full force. And why in the world would you think that? Unfazed, Shiloh looked back at her softly. You haven't changed that much, Lizzie. You're the one who found me online when I brushed you off earlier in the summer. When have you ever preferred leaving something unresolved in the end? You didn't even get a chance to make me explain why I did it. I bet you're dying to do that. Liz ground her teeth, quietly fuming. Shiloh had called it right, and that sucked for her. Fine, I'll bite. Give me your excuses. Well, mostly it was really bad timing. I could have handled it a lot better if I had known I was going to see you that day, and if there wasn't a self-appointed hall monitor dutifully watching every move people made. And a hi, good to see you, gotta go, was simply too much for your little heart to manage? Of course. The goal was to keep as much distance as possible. Admitting I was the guy you knew wouldn't have been helpful. So you can't stand us, and me trying to reconnect was just a huge pain for you after all. Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you so much for saying so. I swear to God one day I will put up a Cove PFP and change my name to Cove just to fool around in this chat. Ooh, better do that soon. We're almost finished with this game. No, that's not it. Don't feel bad though. You're almost never wrong. Your older sister's brow twitched as she stared at Shiloh in tired disbelief. He smiled back at her brightly. I did it so this wouldn't happen. What? I dealt with this situation the way I always do, by saying stuff I didn't exactly mean because it's just easier that way. You heard Jeremy. It's what I'm known for. Sure, right now you're mad that I pretend not to remember you, but if I hadn't done that, it would have been something else later on and we'd have ended up here still. Liz's anger became more and more difficult for her to maintain. It was soon replaced with sad confusion. And then don't do that. Don't be like that. Why not be someone you're actually okay showing me? Shiloh chuckled uncomfortably and searched for a way to explain himself to his former idol. I wouldn't have made you sad if I could have avoided it. I mean that. I thought I could at least finish this visit without issues. Jeremy wasn't someone I expected to call me out. That's pointless to him, usually. But I'm not going to be someone whose personality revolves around making you happy. No matter how much I follow others, it wasn't for them. Every decision was mine. I couldn't be in charge, so being a sidekick was the best option, was something I did for my sake. I chose to let people be the boss when it's what I need and I choose where to stop it. And the best I could do for you now is spare you from dealing with it. I'm not as earnest as you are. I'm not as nice as you are. I was always like that, even as a kid. Back then, I wanted to fit in, even if it meant excluding someone else. If they were the odd one out, that'd mean I wasn't. Finding my place here got harder when Cove moved in. It was a good thing for everybody that I ended up moving myself soon after that. That's a lot. That's a lot. Impersonating him would be too much. Yeah, probably. It'd be a lot of work. I would not be able to withstand Space's bullying. Ooh, if Waya or, Josh ever come in too, you'd be under their bullying as well. Okapi would have your back, though. Maybe, but I'm not nearly as cool as him. Cool? Did we call Cove cool? I love him, but... I would feel bad after hearing that. I know that's essentially how you were back then. You were a scaredy cat who wanted someone to defend you.
Jeez.
I simply imagined that in the past 10 years you grew out of that and learned how to speak to others like, I don't know, an actual grown-up human being. Well, in my defense, I'm not an adult yet. I won't be 18 until later this year in October. October 30th. You remembered. So did you, punk. Shiloh chuckled self-consciously as Liz smirked at him. There was an affable moment before she became serious again. I liked you when we were kids. I wanted to know you. I wanted to know you now. That's what upset me the most. The idea that maybe you only wanted to be rid of your old friends. Oh, Lizzie, you're too good to need someone like me in your life. That's the truth. I'm not worth the effort. Except for the unusual people who have odd taste. Then she straightened up in the sand, brushing her dress back out. That's an incredibly annoying thing to say. It's insane. You've only changed in stupid ways and stayed the same for the rest. That's fair. Is it? It means maybe I have unusual taste. You could have stuffed Shiloh's entire hat in his mouth with how wide he opened it. Really? Well, as much of a mother hen being compelled to look out for their chick, no matter how useless they are, is unusual. I can't help it. You haven't changed that much after all either. You're still Shiloh. You're painfully still Shiloh.
You're welcome.
I brought you here and I'm not going to abandon you. It has to be someone's job to look out for and keep an eye on you. With her certainty returning, she pulled herself off the ground and glowered down at Shiloh with her arms folded. Now I do want to apologize for everything being done behind your backs when you could have opened with all of that you just said. You should have given us a real chance or stayed home. This stunt was rude to me and Rain and Cove too. Let's see. He's cool, come on. He's cute. He's very cute. 5 days apart from your birthday? Oh, cool. He is likable, but I'm not sure I would use cool as a description. You're really trying to insist he's cool. And that is why I think Shiloh and Liz are going to become a couple. Because she's okay with him. I could see why you'd ship it. I think there's like a 4-year age gap or something. I'd have to look at that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, right now he is definitely too young for her. Let's see. Yeah, I read that. Alright. As if bringing the baby chick comparison to life, Shiloh dutifully did as he was told. Sorry, Lizzie, Rain, Cove, everyone. I didn't want to cause problems or ruin this day. And you don't have to accept just 'cause I'm saying it. Not everybody needs to like everyone. Alright then. You were kind of mean sometimes when we were kids, but I wasn't very nice to you either. All this recent stuff isn't really something to make about me, so I'm not gonna hold on to it. I mean, as long as you're not gonna keep upsetting people from now on. Thanks, Cove. I'll avoid doing that in the future. And Liz has too much sophistication going on. Yeah. When is this taking place? It's supposed to be modern. You deserve Lizzie after all. You have a crush on her and I think you're gonna make a great couple. Chat's already shipping you guys, I guess. Thanks, Cove. I'll avoid doing that in the future. He then changed his focus to you. His expression was curious. He wanted to know where your feelings landed on him. Let's see. I'll accept your apology. Let's see. I want to look at the other responses. Yeah, I'll accept it. Shiloh was being Shiloh, and all you could do was accept that he was going to be Shiloh. Thank you. Rain, do you still... wait. Rain, do you want to stay for what's left of the evening? As you got to your feet, you thought about it. Yeah, sure. You were ready to give Shiloh another chance. Let's see. I still like Shiloh. He's the cute little kid from back in my childhood. I still like Shiloh. Let's see. Is it technically a 3 age gap? He's almost 18, so they have a chance. Yeah, they did just say that he was almost 18, huh? That's still, too young. He should grow up a little bit first. But, 3 years is not a big age gap. So, like, once I'd say that he's more grown up and experienced and everything, time gap and stuff, then, like, you know, it's fine. Liz is too good for me, man. Shiloh rules. Shiloh rules? You can't keep that attitude if you want to get the first. Oh my gosh. Mobster! Alright. Despite everything he said and all the complicated feelings knowing him had brought you, you still couldn't bring yourself to hate him. He was still someone that mattered to you. And for a moment you weren't sure if he had heard a word you said. You had spoken quietly, but then his smile grew delicately. Shiloh jumped to his feet, straightening his cap on the landing. Lynch... Lynn is the counselor. Lynn is the school counselor in the other game. That's why that's funny. It's his supervisor that's trying to make him get along with others and have friends. Lynn would be so proud. You didn't all leave. Cove rose as well, but with a groan. Another group mate? No, he's our group supervisor. He's also friends with my mom. And if you were still wondering, that group is for people who have difficult to deal with attitudes. Jeremy and Nate being in it makes a lot of sense, huh? Shiloh spoke simply and finished his thought with a breezy shrug. Liz sighed loudly and then she smiled ruefully at him. Jeez, Shiloh, you've certainly made yourself other people's problems since leaving. Well, now you all know me better too. Thanks for sharing. A small smirk appeared on her face and she watched Shiloh. You didn't fail to notice the hint of sarcasm in her voice. And thank you, Rain. Accompanied by a warm smile, Liz's tone was sincere. I can keep hanging out with everyone too. Sheepish, Cove rubbed his arm. Liz's smile stretched into a grin at that news. Aw, thanks for sticking around. Well then, what now? The four of you stared at each other in silence until Shiloh tentatively made a suggestion. Would anyone want to build a sandcastle? That sounds ideal. Your older sister began to truly relax again, and you were glad to see it. Glancing at Cove, he nodded in agreement with Liz. Okay. It had been a long time since you last built a sandcastle together. The suggestion tugged at the sentimental heartstring. Then we're all agreed. Come on, gang, let's go to the beach. The sun was far across the sky when the four of you trailed down from the park to the shore in comfortable silence. It was hard not to think back on how familiar it all felt. You never thought the four of you would ever be here together again. It wasn't long before you were sitting on the wet ground, busily pushing as much sand as possible into a lump. You all worked together quietly, but every so often a chuckle would drift through because of the castle's lopsided development. At one point, Cove stretched his legs out completely, and the incoming waves started reaching his toes. He initially was caught off guard and almost jumped into the castle, but ultimately didn't resist the water. After that, the group worked with purpose to finish before the ocean could tear it all down. Though, even still, Liz ended up taking time to be particular about the castle's rudimentary design. Shiloh, of course, backed up all her plans. Cove was a dissenting voice, wanting to keep things more laid back. Things got pretty boisterous. Being there and doing this with Cove, Liz, and Shiloh, it felt weirdly different, yet also weirdly the same. So, what happened with the amusement park? You were pretending not to know, weren't you? Both you and your sister glanced at Shiloh, silently re-asking the question. Under the weight of all three of you taking a turn to ask about it, Shiloh finally gave in. I might have an idea what he meant. The thing is, there's someone we're both familiar with, and she asked Jeremy to the amusement park one time. He accepted, but just complained about it, so I suggested that maybe me and her should go together. Jeremy also agreed it'd be more fun to go around the park with me. That's what he meant when he said he was on my side. She still went with him, and now Jeremy's embarrassed to admit embarrassed to admit not that he was turned down, but that he was the preferred option then. It's hard to believe. Anyway, Jeremy could think that I'm mad I got passed over, but it doesn't matter if she said yes or no. All that counts is if she knows I'm not totally there when she needs it, and she does. That she knows I'm totally there if she needs it. Whoops. Uh-huh, sure, Shiloh. You're so reliable. I know, right? Okay, thanks for telling us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Smiling to yourself, you watched the three of them absorbed in the moment. It was nice, and you hoped everyone was having just as much fun. It was sort of incredible that you were able to have another evening like this in your life, and the feeling of odd serendipity wasn't only with Shiloh. You had also gotten a sort of closure with the old villain of that one summer long ago. Just like old times, the four of you stayed on the beach until night fell, and the moon was high in the sky. Then the time had come to say goodbye. Shiloh needed to get back to his mom, and back to where his life truly was now. Before leaving the beach, Shiloh pulled you aside and gave you his number, just in case you wanted to keep in touch. Liz already had it, though he wanted to give it to you personally. You weren't expecting that, but it was comforting to know that this didn't have to be a permanent goodbye. The four of you walked up to your neighborhood street once again, tired smiles covering the familiar faces around you. The wind gently blew by, sand dragged behind you, and a hard-to-grasp feeling of contentment carried you through to the end of the road. It was a good night. After that, Shiloh disappeared from Sunset Bird once again, though this time it wasn't heartbreaking or hard to understand. This time it was just another part of life. And it helped that Liz had her own phone and laptop and could easily check in on him from time to time. That was nice too. All right. Done with that. My throat. Okay. Channel your inner Cove. Let's see. Man, where did I leave off? 10 before 21? What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. Chat got depressing on me. I do want to know about the amusement park. Well, we found out about that. How old is Cove? 18? Or 19? He's somewhere around there. I think we're only supposed to be 1 year older than Shiloh, so I'm guessing 18. I imagine Night Fury's flying at that night star sky. That's cute. Now that would be cool on the beach at night. Yeah. Oh man, my throat is hurting. Alright, so I did say that I will do one more chapter today. It's been 2 hours. That chapter was long. But I can try to do one more. First though, I think I'll take a little bit of a break just to like get some water and everything. So if you guys are cool with that, I think I'm going to take about we'll take a 5-minute break here for a second, and then I will come back and we'll read some more. So everyone take 5, get yourself some water, lay back for a minute, and I will be on in just a second. See you then. All right, let's continue. I'm back. I've gotten my water. I've tried to relax my throat a little bit, but it's gonna die anyway because we're gonna get into this. I don't remember if this one is as long, but we're gonna find out. Let's go. You perched at the kitchen island, wailing away at the minutes until your sister joined you downstairs. There was quite an adventure planned today. Lee was coming down near the Sunset Bird area as part of what she called a little trip. Apparently, she'd thought how nice it would be to go on a private boat trip this summer to celebrate graduation and everything. What might have been an idle dream for most people turned into reality in Lee's hands. You had been invited along for the ride by your best cousin. Yeah! The one that listens to all of our problem. Just as I hit 100. Perfect. Yeah! My great impeccable timing. Alright. For this, we are eagerly anticipating the adventure. It wasn't every day that you got to ride on a proper boat, let alone a private one. You were excited to get out in the water and see the ocean from a fresh angle. Okay. I will say that there's a certain ending I am trying to go for, a certain thing with Cove. And to get that, I have to change things up in this chapter from things I would normally do. So I'm going to be answering some things in ways that are not natural to me. Just a heads up for that. Because I played this before, but I want to do some things I haven't done before. So, yeah, just a heads up. You weren't the only one who was heading out on the trip. Liz was coming, of course. Your moms had been invited, but hadn't been able to find the time to squeeze it in. And so the trip would only involve the kids of the family, a term that had stuck despite all three of you being adults now. Mom would have joked about cramping your style, but there was apparently plenty of room on the ship. Lee had been more than happy for you and Liz to bring other friends along if you wanted. But the trip out to Sunset Bird, then even further out to where Lee and the boat would be, just wasn't feasible for most people. Not many folks lived close by. I guess that means we can't bring Derek along. Sad. There was naturally one person around who would always be there for the ride, Cove. You were just about to meet up with him outside. Lee had been glad when you told her he'd be able to come along today. Just as you were thinking about your cousin and her plans for the day ahead, your phone sprang to life. Glancing at the display, you saw that the incoming call was from Lee herself. You answered it without pause. Hey!
Hi.
She dove straight into the topic, the trip meetup. You could hear the trill of excitement in her voice. I'm here now and everything is all set! All you've got to do is show up and we'll be off! Woo! She spoke quickly, animated by anticipation. Hooray! You echoed her enthusiasm. Great! Can't wait to see you! Liz and Cove are definitely still on board too, right? Yep. Wonderful! And... When Lee spoke again, her teasing tone told you what was coming next. Prying. Cove is coming purely as your very good friend and neighbor, I take it. Still haven't asked him out yet? Your face burned. You had actually been looking for an opportunity to fill Lee in on what happened after the Orca charity dinner. With her on a trip overseas at the time, it had been pretty much impossible to arrange a call at a time that worked for both of you. Busy schedules, not to mention time zone differences, had meant that communication between you had been text only for a while. Something as big as that couldn't be squeezed into an email, but it wasn't like you wanted to keep it a secret. While you thought back on all of this, the conversation lapsed into silence. Lee had noticed the meaningful pause. Rain? Well... This, you see, the truth is, Lee, Cove is my boyfriend. Oh, wait, what? You winced involuntarily as the explanation pierced your ears. You should have expected a reaction like that. You held the phone away from your ears as Lee cheered loudly from the other end of the line. When she finally began to simmer down, you tentatively brought it back to your head, poised to retreat again if necessary. Chat got quiet all of a sudden. Well, we did take a break, so it makes sense that people are probably looking away from their computers.
Also, Space always just does, like, F all. She, like, draws and stuff during chat, so she pokes in every now and then, so you know how it is.
You're a couple now? It finally happened? That's beautiful! After the thrilled gushing came to a barrage of questions. The excitement had eased and now Lee sounded poignantly moved, almost proud of you, more like a parrot at their child's first step than a peer learning about a new relationship. And yet, in a way, it made perfect sense. Lee knew you and how you felt about Cove, and how this was so much more than a summer fling. Are you happy? This time, she left space for you to reply. Yeah, I really am. No? Thanks for supporting me, I mean it. That's no trouble! Honestly, I'm dying to hear every last teeny detail, but we don't have time for that right now. Right this sec, so I'll leave you there for now.
Space gets spacey. Space is an alien and she is kinda spacey, coming from the universe to party and go crazy. Yep. Space is a space monkey, I think. Is that what we went with? I can't remember. She has a design. Because, like, we have a show together if I ever get around to finishing editing that.
No need to keep guest list sparse now. It's not like we'll be bumping into anyone else to join in while we're out in the middle of the ocean.
Well, there's this new guy in the neighborhood that I think you'll like. Yeah.
Ooh, you better invite him then.
Okay, I will. I don't know if he's free, though.
Talk to you later.
I'll let you go. I have to if I want to see you here in the flesh.
She uttered the last words dramatically, making them sound more like a threat than a statement. Laughing, you shook your head. Lee chuckled along down the phone.
Bye, Lee.
I was about to read that as Lee.
Bye.
Now that your attention was free, you looked over at the stairs to see if Liz had emerged yet, but there was still no sign of her. You figured you might as well go out and see if Cove was ready in the meantime. Besides, you needed to stop by Baxter's place to invite him along. Liz would catch up, you were sure. Let's see. Call up the stairs. Liz, I'll be outside. Okay. With that, you hopped off the chair and headed out the door. A sunny day greeted you. Shielding your eyes with your hand, you admired the sky. It looked like good weather for heading out into the water. That was something. You heard your name called and turned automatically. Cove was the source of the call. He was standing halfway between his own house and yours. He waved at you and walked over. We'll wait for him to join us. The warm rays felt good on your skin. You wanted to bask in it, uninterrupted a little longer. Cove reached you after a few moments. Hi. Hey. Ready to go? Cove. Oh wait, that was me. Ready to go? I don't see her as a monkey. I don't remember if she's still a monkey or not. Like, I have her design somewhere on here. Which I will show eventually when we do our show together. Cove nodded easily, blinking languidly in the sunlight, whatever. Whoops, I skipped that. Hold on. You can tell I start getting tired when. Then his mouth curved into a gentle smirk. First jet skis, now a boat? What an aquatic transportation device is up next for us. My money's on the submarine. You laughed. It'd been an adventurous summer for sure. Cove grinned, pleased that he'd amused you. Also, Cove, I was just on the phone with Lee. I told her about us. The relaxed air was swept away from your boyfriend as his eyes went wide. I hadn't actually thought about how this is the first time we'll have seen Lee since that night. He grinned nervously, his eyes betrayed by the way the news had pulled him back, straight and set his shoulders taut. Are you all right? Cove swallowed before answering you. Yeah, we were gonna have to do it sooner or later. He stared at your face, drinking you in like an antidote to all life's woes, and his voice softened tenderly.
It's okay.
We're together, that's all that matters. Your heart skipped. Cove was so vulnerable and lovely. His gaze locked on you, and you were lost in him, just as he was lost in you. But time carried on around you, and the passing of a car reminded you that you too had somewhere to be today, somewhere other than Cove's eyes. Just staring at each other. And I meant to tell you, I'm going to be inviting Baxter too. I've got to check if he's in now before we run out of time. Huh? Really? Cove was stunned. He hadn't been preparing for any extra surprises. He shook it off, however. Alright, it's not like this isn't gonna be awkward for me. Like it isn't already gonna be awkward for me. He was joking, mostly. I'll wait for you here. Okay, Cove, see you in a bit. Give me 1 sec, I need some water. After about an hour and a half of reading, my throat starts like really getting killed here. But then we get to 2 hours and man, it burns. It burns, guys. You strolled over to the condo Baxter was staying in and rang the doorbell. Hitting the button, you had to recall the time Liz, dared you once before to ring this very bell and ding-dong ditch the mean old people residing there. You hadn't been up to the challenge, especially seeing how upset they'd made Cove for no reason whatsoever. It had been a tactical retreat, you told yourself now. There was no winning with people like that. Before old memories could claim you, the door slid open. Baxter looked out, his head tilted in interest.
Nice to see you.
Rain, what a nice surprise. He folded his arms over his chest, leaning casually against the doorframe. Is there something I can do for you? Wanna head out on a boat ride with my family in Cove? Just tell him straight. There he is, Baxter, the boy who flirts with Cove and tries to steal our Cove. Oh. Well, people can chat or not if they want. It doesn't bother me. I'm just glad people are here. Let's see. His eyes widened only briefly before resting back on his usual luxurious expression. It was either an impressive show of restraint, or Baxter's lips involved more impromptu boat trips than yours. Perhaps both.
I can do that.
I'd love to. You're free today? That's great. To your surprise, Baxter's mouth curled into a little smirk. My schedule's always open for an improved itinerary. I'm flexible, remember? Ooh, doing Baxter's voice is something. I don't remember Baxter. He is our new neighbor, showed up, a little bit. He's just here for vacation. He'll be going soon. He did not deserve to go, but you said you need to... So what do we do? What? Huh? What was that? I'm trying to look back in chat for a second. If I missed something. Oh, go on the trip. I get it now. Wow. Brain just like completely just my brain cell did not connect there. Alright. Yeah, he doesn't deserve to go on the trip. Listen. I know what you mean. But like, I love Baxter's chemistry with Lee. Like, I've admitted I played this before. And Baxter's chemistry with Lee is really nice. So, yeah, I invited him. I guess I bought the DLC now, so, like, I have, like, more of Baxter's flirtier moments, but that's not what we're here for, so. Oh. He was not only agreeing to come on the trip, but apparently canceling some other plan in order to make it happen. Baxter was certainly something. Thanks for keeping me in mind. I think this is going to be fun. He slipped outside. After securing the door behind him, he swept out an arm and indicated for you to lead the way. The first stop was to collect Cove. He was waiting, as promised, where you'd left him.
Good afternoon.
Cove, good to see you. Hi. There was no sign of Liz. You took the opportunity to bring Baxter up to date on the plan for the day. He took in your words with interest. Only a minute or two passed before the door of your house finally opened, Liz framed within it like a portrait. Unlike you, she had no need to shield her eyes with a hand in order to protect them from the sun's bright rays, as her hat was performing the job admirably. Spotting you, she headed straight over. She smiled warmly at you and Cove as she approached. Her attention then promptly turned to the group's new addition. It's nice to see you again, Baxter. His eyes closed as he bowed his head in a nod ever so slightly. And the same to you. Living on the same street had given Liz and Baxter the opportunity to get to know each other over the course of the summer. Though she'd spent less time with him than you had, you had anticipated that she wouldn't object to him tagging along on the trip. I asked him to join us today. Just as you'd expected, Liz didn't have much of a reaction to the change of plans. She merely raised her brow. I feel like you and Lee will become fast friends, Baxter. You laughed, having thought the same thing yourself. Baxter smiled politely. With that, your little group piled into the car. It had been decided in advance that you'd all be heading over in Cove's car. Then you set off for your journey down to the coast, to where you'd be meeting Lee. You wound down the California shoreline, with sparkling ocean waters on one side and craggy cliffs on the other. The world blurred by until eventually you made it safely to the large harbor. It was of a far grander scale than one near Mr. Holden's shop. Boats 2, 3, even 5 times larger could fit. Liz took charge from there, calling up your cousin to guide you the rest of the way. Lee did her best to explain where precisely the boat was docked. Oh, your stream crashed? Oh no, I'm sorry. Let's see. Liz likes that hat. Yes, she does. I don't like Baxter. You're not alone in that sentiment. It seems there are lots of people in chat that don't like Baxter. He's pretty controversial. That's what the flirt characters always get. Tarnish is jealous to get his girlfriend stolen. Yeah, he flirts a lot. Imagine if they were night flurries flying in the sky. Yeah. Did my stream crash or did Oliver eat Angie's power cords? I'm still here. I can still see everything. I'm going to assume everyone else's stream is okay. Let's see. No one's texted me anything. And, alright. Nope. It looks like everything is okay from my end. Okay. Cool, cool. I'm glad you're back, Tarnished. Alright, let's continue. Alright, given that she was doing it without seeing where you were, and that it was an area she was only slightly familiar with herself, she did a pretty good job. It was a little bit of fumbling, a little retracing of steps, as your cousin and your sister had different definitions of orange. That was rusty brown. Liz had protested. But before too long, you heard her voice calling you, not from the phone in Liz's hand, but over the wind rolling off the ocean. Searching for the source of the sound, you found her on the prow of a ship, jumping into the air and waving frantically for your attention. You'd arrived. Lee dashed from the bow over to the gangway, where you boarded one by one. Hey everyone, I'm so glad you got here okay. You could tell even if she'd said nothing. Her bright grin as she saw you all spoke loud and clear. Hi. Let's see. Give my cousin a hug! You wrapped both arms around her and pulled her tight against your chest. Squealing, Lee returned the hug just as tightly. After greeting you, Lee turned to look over the faces of the others who'd be joining you on the ocean voyage. Her eyes glinted mischievously as they landed on Cove. It was an expression you'd come to recognize over the years. Cove responded by staring instead at the sea, trying to act as if he wasn't aware of what was coming. But the way he was rubbing anxiously at the scar in his arm was an obvious giveaway, at least to anyone who knew him as well as you. Don't worry, Baxter will take Lee. Already shipping it, huh? Lee walked up to him, like a cat toying with its prey.
Hey.
He smuggled an edge of shy defensiveness into the short greeting, an attempt to guard off the questions he knew were coming. His plea went unanswered. Hey, Cove! She trilled his name as if there was an opening to a song, and continued the rhythm as she followed it up with the dreaded question. Anything you'd like to tell me? Anything about what you've been doing? With my very own cousin? The sweet intonation did nothing to mask the triple barrage of questions. From the side, you heard Liz snickering. Cove's brow furrowed as he pulled himself up to stand tall. His determined expression was diluted only by the deep blush that had spread over his face. Yes, Lee, I'm dating Rain now. We're in a real relationship. It's serious, and so yeah, that's the news that you already knew. Lee burst out laughing, holding her sides as she let her composure fall. Cove deflated next to you, the tension which had been holding him up punctured. Yay, finally! You have my blessing! That's cute. Oh, hey! Hey, Josh, welcome in! Yep, it's our support dog! She's letting us rent out her yacht right now. Cove should admit that they... Listen, nothing happened. Nothing happened during that. It was innocent. How will Baxter, Lizzie, and Lee will react with the Night Furies flying at the same time? That would be cool. And How to Train Your Dragon universe kind of thing. Wait, who did Cove sleep with? Us, but it was purely innocent. We just slept beside each other. Why is she our support dog? Oh, that was way back in, one of the, it was part 4 or something. Oh, hey, look, Space came back. It's our emotional support dog support yacht. She bought us a yacht. Yeah, exactly. More than once. Yes, more than once. But listen. It was purely innocent. It was pure and innocent and nothing happened. He wasn't the only one blushing now. The attention had made you nervous.
Honestly.
You're a couple now. You'd been so busy watching Lee that you'd forgotten that this would be news to Baxter too. Oh no! We're attacked from both angles! I disappeared because I knew that Baxter was imminent. Yeah, that's the only reason. Everyone wants to know if Space is a space monkey. Space can be whatever she wants to be. She wants to identify as a bear or a monkey, I'll support her either way. Congratulations. Hard to get more romantic than a union like the two of you. It was a generous compliment delivered with Baxter's unique blend of directness and formality. Naturally, it made Cove even redder. Thanks. The word came out as stiff as cardboard. Perhaps Cove realized as he was prompted to elaborate. We're very happy together. I'm sure you are. Lee gave one final chuckle before turning to Baxter. Hello. She punctuated the greeting with a clap.
My pleasure.
I'm Lee. I hope you don't feel ignored. I just had some important business to attend to there. Of course, I'm very excited to meet the mysterious new man on the block. Baxter gave her a sideways smirk, his eyes flickering to you and Cove before returning to his host. Honestly, I feel quite included in our little group, but I must confess, I'm not that mysterious. I'm rather open. I do hope that doesn't come as a disappointment. Not at all. I can appreciate forwardness. Welcome aboard. Oh, you started playing Skullgirls? Let's see. Oh, so cool. Oh, so Cove and Rand are doing the nesting. No. This is a pure relationship that hasn't happened. Oh, one of the skins is called Space Casey? Interesting. Way early in the chat, Angie may have alluded to it. Yep, almost your name. Let's see. To finish Angie's explanation, Yuji, way back in the kid stage or something, there was an emotional scene with Rain being prepared to give some emotionally upsetting and private information. Yep, and we made our cousin stay through all of that. Oh my gosh. Continuing. The floor seemed to give beneath you. As Lee whooped with delight, you realized that the ship had pulled out into the water. Okay. I'm gonna level with you, chat. I'm about to choose an option that is unlike me. I am gonna choose something that I normally wouldn't, but I need to choose it because I'm trying to get a certain scene later on. So, I'm going to do something that hurts me, but it has to be done. So I have to apologize to myself mostly. But this has to be done. We're not going to enjoy this. In fact, we're gonna hate this. Like, this cruise, we're gonna hate it. This ship, we're gonna hate it. We're gonna choose to hate this. We offered to either stay to support us emotionally or give us privacy. I picked up her subtle meaning, please let me leave. Please let me be anywhere else. And we didn't do that. We did not do that. I love to talk about How to Train Your Dragon in our live streams. It's a cute movie. Does that mean no boat juice? No boat juice. None. We're not doing it. We're not going to enjoy the ship because I need to get a certain scene, and the only way to get that scene is to not enjoy the ship. So, I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. So we of course kept her around. Yep. She's our emotional support dog. Sorry, Space. I'm sorry. I have to do it. I told you what we're gonna do. We're going to throw a fit and not enjoy the cruise. I know I'm a fish. Do you know how much this hurts me? I want to enjoy the yacht. I want to enjoy it so bad, but I can't. I'm not allowed if I want to get this scene. Is there a secret orca attack on a yacht scene? No, nothing like that. It had been so steady while it was moored that you temporarily forgotten you were on solid ground. Now as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. The little group dissipated into chatter, or headed over to the railings to watch the ocean. You were ruffled by the breeze, which seemed stronger out on the ocean than it was back on the shore. The floor continued to rise and fall, reminding you of standing on a bouncy house while the others jumped. And we were hit with nausea. I have to go. Good night. I hope you have a nice night. Thank you for staying with us for so long, Okapi. But Boat Juice, I'm sorry. Is there going to be gonna be a lot of secondhand embarrassment? I hope there is. I hope chat feels it. What are you gonna do, Angie? No. I'm gonna be scared, I'm gonna be sick, and we're not going to enjoy the cruise. You stumbled back and clenched the railings instinctively, gripping the metal bar so tightly that your knuckles turned white. Your stomach rolled inside you, threatening to spill your breakfast overboard. The optimism you felt earlier had drained away entirely. You didn't know how long you could stand feeling like this, but the trip had only just begun. Rain? You alright? You shook your head so much as much as you could manage. Lee bit her lip and took a step towards you. She nervously waved her hands around as she looked you over. Do you need to sit down? Lie down? Oh, there's a bed in the interior part of the ship. Yep. I would feel uncomfortable in this situation. Let's see. If we don't enjoy the cruise, we can emotionally crush Lee. Oh man, we're always giving her drama. I feel bad about that. Poor Lee. Okay. We're gonna nod. You felt a bone-deep weariness. You just wanted to feel better. Lee smiled carefully. Cove was at your side before Lee could speak again. He wordlessly offered you his arm. His eyes were intense. Even if your neighbor wasn't always such an open book, his intentions would still be perfectly clear right then. He was going to take you somewhere to rest if that's what you needed. You took hold of it. You gripped him tightly. You couldn't reject his support. You needed it. Let's see. Are we gonna share that bed with Cope? That would make everyone else uncomfortable, I do believe. Let's see. Without removing his gaze from you, he spoke out. Which way is the room? It's just past. Lee's words started to blend together. Your cousin was talking while gesturing, but the meaning of it all couldn't get through the fog forming in your head.
Right.
Okay. Cove's voice was clearer to you. He tilted his chin off to the side to where Lee had just pointed. Hey, Yuji, you want to be my cousin? Oh no! Oh. Hey, this is a pure game. This is a pure game. There was no question that you needed to get away from this. With Cove leading the way, the two of you slowly walked over to the room inside the ship. You followed his feet, looking at anything but the edges of the boat. You leaned against him. He held up the weight without complaint. He felt sturdy, which was a small relief in your discomfort. Cove opened a thick door wide, making room for you to get by. It closed behind you softly. Suddenly, the noise level dropped. You could still hear the boat rocking on the waves, but much of the background hum cut off. This is a nice boat. This is a really nice yacht. He brought you to the bed and patted the blanket encouragingly. Come on, you should at least sit down. You crossed the room together, and you used his arms as a railing when he gently lowered you onto the mattress. Your knees strained when they bent, feeling creaky and fragile. With the bed solidly beneath you, you let out a breath. Are you sick? You nodded, head low. You look like it. It was still difficult to focus, but the familiar sound of Cove's uncomfortable chuckle made it through easily. He was trying not to panic. Cove stiffly dragged a tiny trash can closer to the side of the bed. Then his hand nervously fluttered around your forehead. You weren't sure if it was an attempted head pat he gave up on, or if he wanted to take your temperature. You stared down at the trash can while desperately hoping you wouldn't need it. He paused to scan the full length of the room. His head whipped around fast enough to make you dizzy. If there's something I could do to make you feel better, like maybe I could get you a drink? There's gotta be water here, and probably juice. There might even be a fancy sparkling water around. I could ask. I don't want anything right now. I'm sick. Stay with me. Maybe the secret to getting over the ocean motion sickness is to get some motion of the ocean. Listen, I can't believe I nearly read that. This is a family-friendly, perfectly safe game. Bad chat, bad. I don't have a spray bottle asset. Bad chat. Oh my gosh. What just happened? Chat just blacked out for me for a second. How did that happen? What just happened? Is everything okay? Can everyone see me still? I don't know what that was. Everything went black for a second. It says my connection's okay. Jesus Rain's family is rich. I mean, it was nice of him to offer, but it wouldn't mean anything for you. He smiled understandingly. I'll stay right here then. I just want you to be okay. He sunk down to the floor with a soft thud. He positioned himself sideways as he scooched over towards an end of the cabinet near the bed. He glanced up at you from the ground and settled with his back to the cabinet. He was ready to stay in that spot for the long haul. Yet again, he went for the floor while giving you the bed. It was in his nature, despite his joking complaints about it. You folded into yourself on the bed, putting your head between your knees, and tried to keep yourself centered and steady. You felt Cove's fingers gently lay on your head. He stroked your hair. The rhythm of the touch soothed you. Slowly you zoned out. You weren't asleep, but the world faded from around you. Everything was shut out, leaving you floating a step away from unconsciousness. You forgot you were on a boat. Every now and then, a particularly strong wave would jolt you back into the present, but each time you refocused on being calm and became lost in your mind once again. Censor! That's what you get for calling us bad. Bad! How did Leah afford this ship? Did her parents shell out for it? Did she pay for it herself? She rented it, I believe, but like, yeah, from what I've gathered, they're pretty loaded. Had it been hours, minutes, days, it felt like forever, but also like nothing. Eventually, your mind caught up with you fully. You propped your face up groggily. Cove's head was tucked next to you against the side of the bed. You only realized after moving. Luckily, you hadn't bothered him. Though through squinted eyes and a blurred gaze, you strained to look at the door. We're gonna tear up with how badly we felt about this. It hit you how much you had messed things up. Everyone had gone on this trip to have fun, not worry about you. Even though you kept trying to feel better, you still couldn't leave this bed. You were stuck here miserable, surely making everyone else miserable. Tears rolled down your cheeks and you could feel your heartbeat pick up. Cove roused, eyelids fluttering open. When he saw you still locked on the bed, the peaceful expression he had a moment ago had faded into concern. He didn't speak initially, but he was there for you all the same. Is motion sickness supposed to be romantic? In this game, it's a dating sim. Everything can be romantic. Let's see. She rented it. Oh, sweet. Vomit everywhere. Make sure you can't get the security deposit back. Good. Cry to make everything worse. We gotta make this super dramatic for, like, the thing to happen. They will all be sick if she gets sick. It's contagious. Oh no. You stared up at the ceiling no matter how hard you tried. You could still feel the waves knocking into the boat. Hey. Your gaze rolled over towards him. Cove watched you with a gentle face, and he tilted his head towards the side table. Wanna play hangman? Dumbstruck, you watched Cove reach up behind himself and retrieve a little guest notepad and pencil from the tabletop. He placed a piece of paper on the floor and started scribbling on the sheet without waiting for an answer. Don't think I'll take it easy on you. Cove looked up with a beaming smile. If you don't want to stretch your arms, I can write your stuff down too. You merely shook your head, still staring widely at him. Cove chuckled with the soft edge of anticipation. He was ready for a game. Then let's play. I picked the phrase already. You can start guessing. You squinted down at the page. He lined out for 3 words. 2, 2, and 4 letters each. Enter 1 letter of the alphabet. We're playing Hangman, guys! Let's see. Let's see. They will be... Yeah, I read that one. Girl catching a firefly. Firefly is romantic. Punching a kid is romantic. Everything is romantic in our life. And credit starts rolling. Yep, Hangman! We're playing Hangman! Is he drawing how sick we are? How romantic? He should propose with Hangman. Next thing you know, Josh, bullying me will also be the solution. I am so nerd. I don't think that's right. Darn, not enough letters for... Hey now, bad chat, bad. All right. Everyone give me a letter. We're gonna play. I'm gonna drink some water. for a second. Reading for almost 3 hours now certainly isn't easy. Q. Alright, Q! No, sorry. You repositioned yourself, but noticed Cove's gaze start to stray. He's scratched the back of his neck. You know... Cove slowly lifted his eyes. There was something in his face, the way he looked at you, that made your skin warm. We used to play little pen and pencil games when we were younger, remember? You nodded slowly. You wondered just how long it had been since the last time the two of you did this. It was something you could recall from across the years. Playing at the beach with your toes buried in the sand, on scrap paper, passing back and forth in the library, and, of course, holed away in your bedroom on a hot day. It was wonderful to think on. Alright, the next was A. We have one. You got one. You rested deeper onto the pillow, feeling some chills come over you. Cove reached up to run a hand down your hair as he rested his forehead against yours. You nuzzled back against him. You shared an intimate moment, staying as close to him as possible, as you possibly could from your position on the bed, and still sitting on the floor. Hey, Rain, you know the drawings you used to have hanging in your room? The ones you made as a kid? Yeah? Did you keep any of them, like in storage or something? Yeah, I keep all my drawings. Why are you asking? Curious, you instinctively leaned a bit forward. Cove smiled charmingly. I've always admired your ability with the crayon. I just wanted to see them again. Oh. You felt your face grow red. You chewed at the inside of your cheek. I'll find them for you. Really? Yeah, they're around my house somewhere. Thanks. Chuckling, Cove looked back at the paper. He held it up. You at least have to admit your skills back then are still better than mine are right now. This time you looked closely at the crudely drawn game board and tried to fight back a laugh. But it was futile. You both burst into small fits of giggles at that. When you could breathe normally again, you resumed the game. Alright. I am so brittle. Oh, LMAO, the dash at the base of the pool is in space. IDK, why I was thinking that. Alright, thanks for reminding me of Cove's brittle bones, Bear. No wonder we haven't... Oh my god! Me and brittle bones. What the heck? Z, X. Chat really trying to sabotage this game. Alright! Z. That's a point for me. Let's see. Do you remember that time you got into that big fight with Lizzie? Cove's gaze slowly rolled over to you. He snorted derisively. Which one? We were playing house and you two kept butting heads on how to do it.
Oh.
Surprised, Cove sat up straighter and his eyebrows furrowed. You could tell that he was searching for the memory. That was a long time ago. It was one of the first playdates altogether. You got so upset you stormed out, and I ignored both of you to play, to make a pillow fort. Lizzie tried to lie about what happened, but I told my moms how she was acting. Then she had to call and apologize. Wow, my hero all along. As you both sat there quietly with your thoughts, a distant look marred Cove's face. Getting upset and running away was something I used to do a lot, huh? When we first met, I was hiding from my dad. I'd do the same when Lizzie and I would fight. Used to was kind of a generous phrase considering everything. There was that time you literally tried running away from home. I mean, that's true. How about when you ran when it was over for dinner? The words came flying out of his mouth in a squeak. His face burned red and he dropped his gaze to his lap. Yeah, I did that too. You sort of secretly ran away from my room when your dad invited your mom over. Cove's head hung despondently. He wouldn't meet your eyes were burying this guy. Oh my god, yeah, I still remember. You could feel the new waves of embarrassment radiating from him. Does running out of bed count for that too? Oh my god. Cove buried his face in his hands, utterly mortified. A moment later, you were sure you heard him mumbling, but you couldn't quite make it out. You leaned forward, and he put his hands down. He still looked stunned, and his face was a deep shade of crimson.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Rain. You stared back at him. He ran a hand through his hair, which was better than the other type of running he was prone to do. My mom was too right. Maybe I should work on that. There was no stopping the laugh that burst from you. Cove narrowed his eyes, but there was a small, playful look shining there. You better take your turn before I decide to run away again. The corner of his mouth pulled into a bent smile, and you immediately matched it. You picked up the pencil to keep playing. Okay. Whew, that was a lot to get through. Alright, let's look at chat again. He ran away from sleeping with us. He did, in fact, do that. Let's see. X was the next one. Alright, X it is. Sorry, gotta add another arm now. I guess we're focusing fully on the game now. Alright, next we have O. Okay, we got Ola. Good guess. Not really, we're just using, vowels. Okay, actually try to play the hangman, please, Angie. We're working on it. Oh, Cove is still a coward. You know, we could have had this conversation while making boat juice, but we're not. Remember when he nearly went the way of limbing his mother while you were... Yep, I remember. I think Josh would like battery acid more. I think he would too. T? Okay. Yep, that's right. Alright. Don't be silly, Yuji. I can't drink all that battery acid. It's rude to deprive you from the first bottle. Yeah, that's right. I tried O already. J. Nope. We're losing. Alright. Stop. I do know what the answer is. And we're getting, like, really close here. Let's see. Do I purposely lose this? Or do I go with it? Let's see. Both are pretty good options. Please. It'll be so funny. Okay. Then, I will just go with what chat tells me, which the next one was V. Which, look, we're losing this. Only one leg left. Good luck. Alright. And the next one is, let's see. We had spaces V. Yep, too late to change course now. Try E? Okay. That was not it. I win, but I'll tell you the answer anyway. Cove picked up the pencil and filled in the complete statement. It's okay. In simple handwritten letters, it was the message, "It is okay." Stunned, your eyes slowly trailed up to his. That's what you wanted to say? We're bad at hangman. Yep! Cove averted his gaze for a moment. His cheeks grew pinker, but slowly his expression grew more serious. He turned back to you. Cove reached up and caressed your cheek. His touch was feather light, and you leaned into it.
It's okay.
We'll hug him. You moved with enough force, throwing your arms over the side of the bed, that you almost knocked Cove over. He wrapped his arms around you and steadied you both. Sighing, all the tension in your body melted away, and you relaxed into him. You could feel Cove lightly rubbing your back in a soothing circle. It was a good game. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't a good game. We failed that so badly. Let's see. Lame proposal. I don't think this was a proposal. We are bad at Hangman. Chat, we are all bad at Hangman. That is what we've decided. Now is when she barfs. Oh god. No, that's not happening. We're not doing that. Yeah, it was a good game, man. Good game. Yeah, it was. Oh, he is pitying us. He's pitying us badly. We were meant for beehive boxing, not this. I only missed one letter. Yep. Next round, please. I don't think we get a next round on that. Eventually, a light tapping at the door caught your attention. It slowly opened and Lee popped her head in, giving a little wave. Hey, how are you holding up? I'm okay. Okay, good. Still, Lee sounded unsure. You gave her a reassuring smile, as best you could manage in the moment. Lee rubbed her hands together. You raised an eyebrow, knowing her well enough to tell that she was preparing herself to say something. Well, I talked to the captain, and it's no problem for us to swing back to the mainland sooner than the usual schedule. We're already on our way, if that helps. Thank God, no. You don't have to do that. You felt even worse, now racked with guilt for truly spoiling the trip. Lee shook her head. I do. You've been dealing with this the whole time. We had to be back before nightfall anyways. It's no big deal to head back now. That's cool. Really cool. Thanks, Lee. His expression was hopeful. Cove was eager for you to feel better as you were. He placed a gentle hand on your shoulder, giving it a reassuring squeeze. Next time we make boat juice. Yep, we'll do that eventually. Oh, whoops. Rain, let's go home. A snorted laugh escaped Lee instantly. She turned away with her hand covering her mouth, but a few more giggles shook her before she finally looked back. I didn't know you two moved in together. Rain, I can't believe you left that part out when we were chatting on the phone earlier. Cove's brow furrowed and his expression slipped into a displeased frown. He didn't move to face Lee, but instead he decided to lean a bit closer to you. Just ignore her. You know what I meant. Your mouth curled into a delicate smile. Well, my house is practically your house too, Cove. Your hardly a neighbor rolled his eyes as Lee roared with laughter again, clapping her hands. Are you two done yet? You know what I meant. Yeah. Okay. And then Lee shifted the weight on her feet like she was antsy.
Sorry.
Hey, Rain. I really am sorry about today. I didn't mean to invite you out on a boat that would make you feel like garbage. I can forgive you for a slight against me personally. You're welcome. What response is that? I only missed one letter. Yep. Next time we make boat juice. Yep. Can we do our own hangman and make the answer? No, we can't. Bad chat again. I don't have a spray bottle asset, but you know what I do. Oh wait, we're living together? Great, we can build a little doghouse. Outside for Rain too. Wait, we're Rain. Why would we be in the doghouse? Oh, there we go, Lee. I see it now. Okay, this answer is funny. You managed a grin to show that it was all in good fun. Looking relieved, Lee's eyes brightened. With things truly settled, you started to feel better than before already. The rest of the boat ride went by peacefully. Everyone agreed to let you rest as much as possible until it docked at the harbor once more. Finally, the time came, and you were able to disembark. The sun was settled along the horizon during the long trip back to Sunset Bird. You blinked dozily, watching the faded rays coming through the car window. You turned your head to spy on Cove from your spot in the back seat. You wondered what he was thinking.
Cove's focus was completely absorbed in driving home. An affectionate warmth fluttered in your chest at the simple sight of your neighbor. You were grateful that Cove was there today. Now that you were safely back on land, you were feeling more at ease. Your eyes were growing heavier than the exertion today. But even though the trip didn't go as planned, it wasn't all bad. There were nice moments that made all the trouble worth it. The people you cared about, that you most cared about, I can't speak. I've lost the ability. Wow, Angie is, that 3 hours. That 3 hours is really catching up on me now. Read the rest of the message. No. Bad. I wanted to see Cove's cowardice in action. Let's make our own hangman. The theme is fruit. Can we find the ship's gas tank? Is chat really going to play hangman? Are you guys really gonna play hangman? Can we find the ship's gas tank? We can still get some tasty boat juice. Yeah. The spaces didn't space as expected. Sad. Oh no! Alright. E. Add that space. I don't know how well this is gonna go. Alright, but even though the boat's trip didn't go as planned, it wasn't all bad. There were nice moments that made all the trouble worth it. The people you cared most about cared for you just as much in return. A big yawn rumbled through you and left your eyes in a tired squint. The theme is hard facts of the universe. Alright, I got one! I can't wait to see how this is gonna look played back in video form. You have an idea of what it is already? Alright, I'm looking forward to this. Alright. Rolling your head to look out the window once more, you watch the scenery pass on by, growing more and more familiar as home came closer. You'd be back soon, and you smiled thinking about what an adventure the day turned out to be. You truly ventured out to sea, and you'd returned alive. As far as you were concerned, that was quite a victory. All right. So I am severely worried at what this is going to be, Space. I am very worried about it. So yeah, we couldn't have the boating adventure that I necessarily wanted because I needed that hangman game to happen. I definitely needed it to happen. For something we'll see later on. That will come back into play in like 2 to 3 episodes, give or take. Okay, what are we writing here? Space? Yep, Okapi's gonna be upset. What are you doing? I'm just gonna let this play out. I'm afraid you should be afraid. What? What? I think they got it. Space, I think chat won. Oh my gosh. Alright. Well, everyone that wants to read that can. Good job, guys. We won Space's game. We can all go back to our families now. Alright. I'm gonna end it here. My throat is so shot right now. Alright. I will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. This round has been a lot of fun. Oh. Chat is just arguing. Chat is just arguing on the Hangman game. That's great. Alright. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. 2 chapters are a lot, but we did it. I, like always, love you guys lots. And I hope you guys will join me on Wednesday for the voted episode of Lobotomy Corporation. It officially got voted in, so that's what we will be playing on Wednesday. So, I will see you guys then. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you in the next stream. Bye, guys!